I wonder if Diddy's going to talk or it's just going to be the lawyer talking. Prosecution to the defense. I don't know. Okay, let's keep going with this. So they go to the store, they buy all these toys, the security guard's with Diddy, the ex-security guard.
I had to leave Atlanta and go to North Carolina for a show. You understand? And it was him, this rapper, Sarah, and this other girl. We all got on a G5 jet, and we flew to G4 jet, and we flew to North Carolina. So
what's up, everyone?
Later on that, I think that afternoon, same day, this rapper and him, they all in the room together.
Okay, let me know if you can hear me. I'm just going to be streaming the presser because I didn't want to miss it, you know. I know there's a lot of other lives and stuff going on, but I wanted to hit this one when it's live because I missed the other ones. They're waiting outside the courthouse right now.
Sarah, the girl.
Hey, I'm Sarah.
And this dude, this rapper. So,
Wrench, when
I'm
did you
here at the door and stuff like that? Like, yeah.
Wrench
so then,
gone.
next thing you know, somebody rang the doorbell.
I don't remember when you had a wrench. To tell you the truth.
So I opened the door.
Maybe like a long time ago. Maybe I think a lot of
the
people
dude said, "Yo, I'm here for my cousin." I said, "Who your cousin?"
I haven't done anything with wrenches in a long time, so I can't remember.
Ja Rule.
But yeah, I ain't against anyone.
No.
I gotta sign in on my phone so I can do two things at once.
Daddy, I like when you scrambling the screen.
I just gotta sign in on my phone so I can watch the chat when I'm over here because it gets confusing. So just give me 1 second.
No. I like that.
Wow.
I said, well, he busy right now. He said, he busy doing what? I said, he with Puff. They're in the room. They busy. They don't want to be bothered. He said, well, I'm going in there. I said, bro, you ain't going in there because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothering them. And he was like, yo, I don't care, man. I'm going in there. That bull like that. I said, yo, bro, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the air out of my body before you get in that room right there. Watch. He tried to bum rush me. I grabbed his and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked. And so then Ja was like,
okay, so if you're just coming in, let's see. So I know that there's some other lives going on and everything right now, but I wanted to get this when it's live because I've already missed some of the other press conferences and, you know, some of the stuff going on doesn't involve me. And you know, some people are interested in this, so I do want to stream this live. And they're just waiting for him to come out of the court and, you know, hear what the lawyers have to say and all that. So I did print the indictment this morning. It's worse than I thought. I know most of you probably already watched it.
What's going on? Yo, Gene, that's my cousin. He know me well. You know, and Puff was like, yo, Gene, what happened? I said, he tried to get in the room. I told him he couldn't get in the room.
And I realize a lot of people are probably at some other lives right now. But like I said, I couldn't miss this.
Room. And he was like, Puff looked at Ja.
Said, I printed that shit already. I just didn't get to
go over it. I had a
couple appointments
today. There's a lot of freaking going on.
Let's see, maybe I can make this live.
So I was like, he said there was a lot of freaking going on. So that was basically that story, man. You know what I'm saying? They went back in the room. Dude felt a certain kind of way, and he left out. So I seen them at the concert.
Also, they're already running 1 hour late. So
concert the next day, and they try to, form up against me. But my man Frank was like, I told my man Frank, I was like, yo, Frank,
I think some other
put
people
yourself
are going
in that position. Somebody trying to get in the room, and Ja told you don't let nobody get in the room. What would you do? Now y'all can do whatever y'all want to do, man.
Oh, by the way, did you all say you could hear me okay? I forgot to look.
Yeah. But I ain't taking no
I don't know
loss.
if you can hear me.
He said, yo, you good, and that was it. Bro, when Ja said, you don't want to come up in there, a lot of freaky stuff is going on. You got to use your mind. What they was doing with those butt plugs.
Butt plugs? Oh, hell no. They're talking about butt plugs again. We can't escape the butt plug talk on YouTube. I'm
crazy. So, I mean, there's multiple accounts of supposed other rappers. I mean, the Philly rapper that was mentioned in one of the one of the lawsuits,
Let me check.
it was alluding to
Let me go back over here to my settings.
But Diddy has hit on me. That's the Rifkin house. And everybody at the house was gay, but I didn't know it.
Why do you think
it's this joke, no joke.
so many bad boy artists went broke?
No joke.
With Diddy?
I'll try 150. 150?
Well, you got to remember, this is Diddy's
How's that
career
sound? Does
really
that sound any
started like
different?
91, 92.
All right, let me see
A lot
here.
of us wasn't even educated about the music business still. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to think, even the Locks,
Does that sound? That sounds a little better. Okay, thank you.
they was kids.
More butt plug
You know what I'm
talk.
saying? Mace was a kid. If you look back at Biggie and Tupac right now, they died at 25.
Right.
Yeah, so I didn't even hit the intro or anything. I thought I was gonna miss this, and it seems they're running pretty late.
Now they look like kids, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people got robbed because they
What
didn't know the
about
business.
Justin
A lot
Bieber?
of people with bad boys to come to the dark side
Oh, yeah,
of the industry,
Rico.
right? The same stuff that Diddy's they alleging now with the parties, the drugs, the sex.
Right.
A lot of people fell victim to that, right?
Who else is gonna get charged? That's
Because
the question.
that was their lifestyle. Now, when we was younger, we wasn't paying attention. But if you go and you look at the Big Papa video, the lead woman or the lead guy in that is a transgender, right?
I'm gonna look it up. How you say
Justice
that?
for Terry
Yeah, you can.
Crews, someone says.
So you more so, and we could be somewhat candid. You more so just alluding to like the accusations of Diddy being like into
Where the fuck?
homosexual lifestyles.
Yeah.
That energy of hip hop that has always been seen as taboo, and we could never verify it because none of us.
Yeah, don't you all want to hear all the other? I mean, do you think more victims will come forward now and tell their story? Maybe people will feel safer once he's locked up. But what power will he still have? You know what I mean? Will he have a certain level of power in jail? Will he still be able to control people? With his money. Is his money going to get seized? I don't know.
Well, I was.
But I was gonna say, I was gonna ask you. So you've seen this firsthand?
Yeah, I've
shit.
never seen like orgy, but Diddy has hit on me. That's the Rifkin house.
So there was another guy that took him to court, and I don't know if that was yesterday or this morning, but the judgment was against P. Diddy for $100 million to a guy that's in prison. And that sounded crazy to me because that's half of his net worth, I think.
And everybody at the house was gay, but I didn't know it until I really paid attention and looked around at my surroundings. I'm like, oh,
right.
Like, what's going on?
It sounded like Exhibit story because Exhibit had a story like that. They went to Miami.
No, but he went to a club.
Right.
I went to Steve Rifkin's house.
Right.
It was after a BET Awards. We went to an after party.
Right.
Me, Lil Kim, Hillary Weston, who was Lil Kim's manager at the time. And we go to the after party. We run into Diddy, and Diddy tells us to come meet him at. He tells them.
I am sorry to interrupt your other live.
He'll come meet me at Steve Rifkin's house, and we all go to Steve Rifkin's house. And while we there,
again, I know a lot of people are at the other live. I'm not trying to normally I wouldn't go over, on top of someone's live, but this is kind of like breaking news for the people that want to hear this stuff. That's why I did this.
There was another executive that been making passes at me a lot in the entertainment industry. He shows up.
For context, what does that look like?
This shit's
Because they're not gonna be that bold, are they?
This guy's powerful. He's a demon.
Is it like
he's
how if you shoot a shot at a woman, it could be either very direct or very subtle?
It's very direct. Not going to try and grab a nigga nuts, but when someone is attracted to you, male, female, I don't know if it was a dog and he humping on your leg, you know the motherfucker horny. You know what I'm saying? So, it was definitely obvious. Especially in hindsight. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that lifestyle exists within the industry, right?
We've heard it, and
it's a fact, brother. It's a fact. From sports players, singers,
where's Diddy
actors, comedians.
This is taking a while.
He gone.
Comedians, white, black, Asian, it don't matter.
So, because that's a whole conversation
that you
just said, even with the Diddy.
One of my fears, or one of my questions right away is, oh my gosh, is there bail? Is he allowed to bail out? That was one of my things I was worried about. Or did he think he was
how do you respond to that when he makes a pass at you? You play it off?
Money's not a crime.
For me, at this stage in my life, I'm more mature than to punch a nigga in his face, right? So you just ignore it, and you.
Did you hear that one of these freak off parties caused $46,000? $46,000 to the hotel or whatever it was, penthouse they rented or whatever. Can you imagine? I started thinking to myself, what did they do in that house to cause $46,000 in damage? Okay, maybe 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I thought, yeah, sure, that could saturate a carpet. That might destroy a mattress. Did they pull the mattress off the bed? Did they punch holes in the walls? I mean, like, what can you do to a room to make $46,000 in charges? What kind of freak were they getting on?
Kind of give him the let him to look like nah, and giving that nigga the look made him just look hard and made me put my head down because he got 5 niggas standing around him. They like the whole booty mob, right? And
did anyone see if it was no bail? So like I said, I printed indictment, but I didn't get to read it yet because I had an appointment scheduled for 3, I thought. So that's why I was going to hold off on all this. But then I realized my appointment was at 2:30. That's already done with. So I was sitting there like,
what the hell? I would grab Hillary by her shirt and I drag her ass outside. Like, yo, this nigga over here, no. Like, yo, don't bring me to nothing like this. And then when I'm not going to name all the people that was there. And I talked about this before, but I'm not going to do that, right? But everybody that was there
now
was
all we can do is
either gay
listen,
or secretly gay or bisexual. But right now, from what I know now, and I say they all get down like that, right?
Right.
And me hanging with them, they could have thought that because I was hanging with Lil' Kim, that maybe I would be with that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to knock them for trying. You know what I'm saying? Because all these 75%, 85% of these people that's in the industry that's popular, you know what I'm saying, have succumbed to that lifestyle.
My question for that, and then we can kind of do a spin move out of it, because I'm always curious about, was it already in them or was it industry? Does the industry groom them to?
Bad boy was to life.
The industry grooms them to be open to it. Like if we go back to the Big Papa video, right? Why is the lead person out of all the bad bitches in New York City back then, even the women in the video?
If you're just coming in, we're waiting for the presser. They're running an hour late, more than an hour now.
Right?
So
why was the lead a transgender? Why was there? You remember the scene in the bathroom? Why was there a transgender pissing in the bathroom?
I never knew that. I never even thought about what the hell.
You remember the scene in the bathroom?
Wow. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
All right.
Why was there a transgender piss?
They're in court right now. We're just waiting for them to come out and give a statement.
Pissing in the bathroom with them and the guy. You don't remember?
It up, right?
Yeah. You don't remember there's a woman in the bathroom with klepto, and I can't remember who the other person is. And they looking at the nigga ding ding, and while they standing at the urinal. Like, why is that in there way back then?
Got you.
Ding,
and
ding.
I just pulled
now look at the girl go to the scene when Buster's talking to her at the bar.
Ding ding.
And Big walk up and move the nigga. And then, or when she say true, stop it right there and look at the knot in her throat.
Not the knot in her throat. Tell me all.
What happened was he was arrested yesterday. The indictment was sealed. Today it was opened. I printed it earlier. It was read on many channels earlier. And now we are waiting. He was scheduled to be at court at 2:30. They're running late to come out and give us a statement. Formally charged, I guess.
Talking about this young lady?
Oh, shit. Hold up. Oh, crap.
So now they're detaining us with clips while we wait.
Talking about.
Oh.
Oh.
Talking about this young lady?
I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. This is crazy, dude.
That's her. Look at it. Zoom in on the throat.
Women can have a little. Is that like
Her
nine?
name is Shamika. She was from Queens and she got killed because she was a nigga who was there, didn't know it was a man, and went to have sex with her and found out she was a man and she's dead and he's in jail.
No.
Shamika? They killed her?
So you know the story. So when you see that, are you alluding to they sprinkle it in there? They subconsciously make you comfortable with it,
bro.
Because that is weird not to say weird as a derogatory, but it doesn't make sense why that scene would be in a hip hop video when hip hop was so much about masculinity and da-da-da-da.
And it's supposed to be homophobic, right? So they say, right?
Right. But we weren't thinking about transgenders back then.
Well, damn, I rushed to play this thinking it was going to happen any second. So I apologize for the wait.
But they're there. Okay. What I believe is that the Tupac Biggie got so gangster and so big that the agenda that they was about to push on us, that they later pushed on us, it just got pushed back.
Crazy. There's another one. Well, I don't know how interesting this is, but it says June Deal says Puffy ran after they ran into Tupac at the Soul Train Awards.
Okay, so Hit 'Em Up comes out.
Hit 'Em Up.
Things are becoming, more heated between the two camps.
Hurry up, damn it.
And then they run into each other at the Soul Train Awards.
Right.
And you were actually Puff's bodyguard that night.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, check this
you
out.
guys
Check this
were
out. Another update. It's what they're saying on Twitter. Who's this? New York City courts reporter. Okay. Supposedly, federal agents found bags of pink powder that looked like ecstasy in Diddy's hotel room when he was arrested last night, prosecutors say.
Oh, pink cocaine.
As he was awaiting the NYC arrest. Maybe he was looking to have one more good night of partying before they arrested him. I'm still waiting for courtroom updates. The last update is that this was 40 minutes ago.
That's the pink cocaine. Oh, shit. Because he thought he had another day. They went in a day earlier. For some reason, they couldn't wait. So he thought he had another day. So he was partying with the pink cocaine.
It was still on the prosecution's turn. The prosecution was making their argument.
Pink cocaine. So it's relatively new to me. So hello, everyone. We're just waiting for them to come out and make a statement.
Trying to get him bond. They're trying to make it.
They're running late.
The prosecution doesn't want him to get bond. The defense wants him to get bond.
I think he was planning
the defense,
one.
At the time, 40 minutes ago, they still hadn't been heard. The prosecution was arguing, I guess, why they shouldn't get bond. Diddy's trying to say for $50 million bond. I guess he's going to use his house.
If they came and grabbed him a day early, too. Maybe he had some of the pink cocaine in his bunghole.
In Miami, the Star Island house. So we're waiting on that. They're supposed to argue it. Can I continue with this video?
Hurry up
No
and wait.
way. This is interesting. Oh, man. This goes deep. The more and more I keep finding. Silvio's sending me a lot of these videos. What? Okay. Let's finish this little short video, and then we'll continue back into this person that was supposedly trans and murdered. Because I think they're saying that was Biggie's love interest. What?
Nika?
Actually part of the altercation when Big and Tupac ran into each other.
Not at all.
Okay, so
We were running. We heard it over the radio. So me and Puff is running and trying to get there. The next thing you know, this little light-skinned Muslim guy stops Puff. And we about to get into it with these Muslim guys. And I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I'm not going to let them touch Puff. And they wanted to talk to him, so they surrounded us. You understand? And it was about 6 of them. And this dude was trying to talk to Puff, and I'm moving him. I got Puff in one arm, and I'm moving him. Come on, let's go right there. Until Mustafa saw us. Mustafa is Farrakhan's son. And then Mustafa said, brother, back up. Dude didn't move. And then Mustafa said it again, say, yo, brother, back up. They with me. Dude, was crazy heated. And then Mustafa got in his face, hard body, like, brother, real hard. And, and I was like, oh, shit, this shit about to go. You know what I'm saying? The next thing you know, Nation of Islam guys started running, coming from everywhere.
Wow.
So they backed up, and me and Puff took off running to the corridor. As we was running to the corridor,
the Nation of Islam people don't play
see
either.
Pac and Suge and the rest of them come right there, and we're at the edge where if you take this left, you have to jump down into where the televisions and the media was at. It was like a little small embankment or whatever like that you jump down into. So Puff was on my left. Puff was right here behind me, and they coming, and they talking amongst each other. I see him, and I look at Puff, and I just said to him, I said, yo, Puff, don't worry about nothing, bro. I got this. Just take care of my family. You know what I mean? And when I looked the other way, next thing you know, he jumped down the embankment and took off. And I just put my back against the wall, and they just walked past me. And that's when Pac got that award for album, I think, or something of the year, rap of the year, or whatever like that.
Okay. There's this other one that I kind of want to check out. By the way,
I like that, man. That's a good tough.
Shout out to Sarah, the artsy ninja.
Yeah.
Love. How you doing? Thanks for watching. Lori told me you're watching as well.
I gotta clip it.
This is crazy.
Another shout out.
Woo! About this, Jay-Z is garbage. DeAndre Bonds on Diddy being gay and calls out Jay-Z for not responding to Tupac. So they're saying something about, see this, Biggie's love interest.
I gotta pin his stuff when I get back to my desk. I gotta pin his
and I think
link.
Jay-Z, he uses the same lawyer, but you know, they hired a lawyer to investigate Diddy and Tupac murder. How you feel about that?
Well, if Tupac family hire investigators, and a lot of times
I wasn't
investigators,
expecting that.
they get more information out of people and from people than cops do. You understand what I'm saying? So now, they may go back and listen to some of the audio dialogue interviews, especially about that check that Zip had. And the investigators will try to find out where it came from, why it came, and who gave it, and what was the reason it was given, because they are trying to implicate Zip as being the person that got the money that Keefe D was supposed to get. Now, this is what the internet, this is what Greg Kading, this is what all the people are saying. Gene Deal is not saying that. Gene Deal said, yeah, I saw the check for $1 million. And I told y'all what the check was for, because Zip told us for Black Ground Records, Barry Hankinson, and old boy gave it to me. So now it comes out years later that Puff paid somebody $1 million and gave it to Zip, but it was supposed to go to Keefe D now. Now,
there's a bunch of
where that
updates
shit
here.
came from, I don't know. But maybe Tupac family want to do some research themselves and find out themselves. You get what I'm talking about?
Right. But with everything that you know, right, what do you think Tupac family should be mad at Diddy about?
I think the family should be mad at Diddy creating the atmosphere, as well as Suge Knight.
I found a Twitter page that's actually reporting, it seems like, from the inside of the courtroom. So this video is almost over, and then I'm going to start giving you guys all the updates that's going
And
on.
Pac had a lot to do with it himself. Pac had a lot to do with it himself. Because Pac knew that Big had nothing to do with him being shot that night. And Big didn't know anything about it. So, yeah, they should be upset with Diddy and Suge for creating the atmosphere to sell records, as well as the media. But Pac has a lot to do with that too.
Speaking of Big, and I don't know if this is true or not, but maybe you can tell me, because I always heard this rumor. Is it true that the main girl in the Big Papa video is a transsexual?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the girl. Yeah.
It was a transsexual in there, and she ended up getting killed.
Yeah, I heard the same thing too, man. I think that that gingerbread, the transgender that killed themselves or whatever.
What? Well, the other guy said she was murdered.
Yeah, but it was a transgender way back then.
And no one knew she was a transsexual.
I guess not. Or somebody did know that, but didn't tell the artist. They played like that, man. That was what was that it wasn't Hype Williams, was it? It was one of those guys who was big at that time, and they was doing all kind of videos. What's the director that did the video? Was it Hype Williams or that other guy? Benny Medina, Benny. All
right, let me give you some updates from inside the courtroom. Now, this is starting from an hour ago, and I'm going to read it up to now so we know everything that's going on. So it says Sean Combs is sitting at the defense table in a black shirt with 2 U.S. Marshals standing behind him and his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo. Prosecutor's table is full, stacked. Let's see, all rise. The judge's name is Robin F. Tarnowski, presiding. Okay. The judge says you have the right to be represented by a lawyer for this proceeding, and any questioning by authorities. The indictment has 3 counts of racketeering, conspiracy, including sex trafficking, forced labor, and bribery, arson, and obstruction of justice. Judge, victim 1 was forced to engage in these acts, sexual acts. You are charged with knowingly transporting an individual to engage in prostitution. Did you receive a copy? The attorney for Puffy says yes. And how do you plead? Not guilty. So we knew that. The judge asking if they have a set.
For sure, Debbie. Okay, so I just sat back down. It looks like they are reporting from the courtroom, so that's good. We need some action here.
And they said, yeah, September 24th, 10 a.m. I don't know if we can just take a note of this. Puffy. Let's see if I can see here. Puffy.
And also, they wouldn't allow any cameras from what I heard in the courtroom.
Conference? Or did he? save that for now in case. And so September 24th, 10 a.m., the judge says, I exclude Speedy Trial Act time until then. We will have a detention hearing. These crimes carry a maximum sentence of life in prison or death. These crimes carry a maximum sentence of life in prison or death. There's a risk of flight, and that person will obstruct justice.
Ooh,
or this is the attorney, I think. AUSA Johnson will obstruct justice or attempt to intimidate a witness. This is a presumption case based on sex trafficking.
Look, the dog's getting tired of waiting.
The government bears the burden of establishing that you are a danger to the community, government. The attorney says the defendant, Sean Combs,
you see the dog, he's even bored. He's like, come on, we need some action.
Abused victims for decades. He used vast resources of his company to commit and cover up these crimes.
Link here.
Pretrial services agrees he should be detained after interviewing him. He's facing significant charges with mandatory prison time. Okay, we request an order of detention. ASUA says he set up freak-offs, forcing sex and pleasuring himself. He also filmed some of them. He stocked the room with narcotics so that female victims would continue for multiple days. The attorney continues, the defendant committed other physical assaults, kidnapping, and arson. He surrounded himself with and use of firearms, including 3 defaced AR-15s we seized, 1 in LA, 2 in Miami, in his bedroom closet. We're up to 50 minutes ago. We're still catching up. The indictment charges bribery and obstruction of justice. Let me give an example. March 5th, 2015, at the Intercontinental Hotel in LA, disclosed in May of this year. This incident is critical. It is a recorded example of use of force. The victim sought to leave a freak-off party. He assaulted her. He wrote that wrong. When hotel security was helping the victim leave the hotel, the defendant attempted to bribe the officer with a handful of cash. The guard refused. The defendant tried to get the video. The video disappeared from the hotel servers. We kind of talked and covered all this. It's not a coincidence. The cover-up continued for another 7 years. There was a civil lawsuit in November 2023 that detailed the assault at the Intercontinental. The defendant denied it, called it lies. Fast forward to the video being publicized. Then the defendant admitted he was involved in the assault. It is clear you cannot.
I didn't hear that.
He denied things. Make no mistake. March 5th is just one example of there are of numerous assaults.
Damn.
Choking, etc. The freak-off activity is the core of the case. The risk of danger in this case is acute. There has been spontaneous violence, so it is difficult to craft any conditions for release. It's this long-standing pattern of abuse entirely undeterred. Witnesses have been interviewed, or witnesses we have interviewed have universally expressed fear. They're afraid. The defendant has contacted witnesses who received grand jury subpoenas. He contacted at least one victim.
What about his kids?
The constant contact with witnesses. On September 10th, a week ago, Don Richard sued. Before September 14, statement by Ms. Harper, the defendant called her 54 times in one day. Wow.
Damn.
Some of the way in which the defendant contacts victims and witnesses are meant to evade. He uses intermediaries, which we covered all this just earlier. And let's see. The defendant cannot overcome the presumption on obstruction. Courts have revoked bail in this circuit. LaFontaine, they're not saying Diddy had his bail revoked. They're giving an example of a different situation in this other court.
I'm trying to pin the damn thing.
Feeding a false narrative. R. Kelly was detained. Jeffrey Epstein was detained on conduct going much further back in time. Keith Raniere detained on all 3 grounds, even though the violence was committed by others. His incentive to flee changed when he was arrested last night. I don't know who this Keith Raniere is.
I'm not sure about the kids. I wonder if they were abused or what they saw, or involvement possible.
He's an American cult leader who was convicted of a pattern of racketeering activity, including human trafficking, sex offenses, and
charming
fraud.
attitude. There you go. Hi, Brianna.
Okay. He's a purported self-help multi-level marketing company offering personal development and seminars, headquartered in Albany, New York. Wow. Okay. So they're using him as an example as well.
You didn't miss anything. We're just waiting for them to come out and give a statement. I thought it was going to be any second. They're running late.
So those documents.
Holy shit.
Is that the Diddy files? They're rolling out the Diddy files?
Shit. That can't be all his. Come on. That can't be.
What is that?
No fucking way. That cannot be. Can that be the prosecution? They came in with a fucking ballot and shit.
We'll see if they.
Do y'all think that was his? Holy shit.
I'm at 38 minutes before, so I'm taking you through some of the transcripts, some of the things that was going on in the courtroom. I found a reporter that has this information. So his incentive to flee changed when he was arrested last night. The defendant is a wealthy man. It allows him to flee quickly without detection. His counsel have taken steps to minimize flight risk to set him up for the argument made today. But then his incentives were entirely different. He flew to New York 2 weeks ago. He had what appears to be narcotics found in his hotel last night. Okay, we just talked about it. So this dude, the feds are looking into him.
No, Tracy, I kind of like went right into the stream, no intro or anything, because I thought I was going to miss it. I was running late, and I just wanted to be able to stream this for the people that wanted to hear this kind of stuff, you know? So you didn't miss anything.
Hell's raining down upon him. He knows they're going to arrest him, and he's in his hotel last night, right when they arrested him, and they found this pink powder. It says it tested positive for ecstasy and other drugs. Okay. This is the Heartland detention case. This package is woefully inadequate, only focuses on a flight risk. The government has spoken to over 50 witnesses. We have sworn out warrants.
That's a lot of oil.
Research.
When I started thinking about it, just picture in your mind what 1,000 bottles of baby oil can do. And then I thought about the room that they were saying that they rented for these freak-off parties. One of the rooms caused, like I said earlier in the stream, $46,000 in damage. And I just thought, okay, that's a lot of baby oil. Maybe the carpets got fucked up. Okay, redo carpets. But that ain't $46,000. What the fuck did they do in those rooms to cause $46,000 of damage? I know you can fuck up some mattresses and shit if they're soaked in oil. Did they dump these oils out in swimming pools, like wrestling in the oil? Like, what the fuck do you need 1,000 bottles for? Come on.
Have yielded 90 cell phones and 30 other devices, including surveillance system. The freak-offs are corroborated. 300 grand jury subpoenas.
That's a hell of a lot of oil.
The defendant poses a danger to these proceedings through obstruction. He should be detained pending trial.
Yeah, going to party, probably.
The judge says, Mr. Angifolo, with a question mark. And
I think we still might be.
This is Diddy's attorney. He replies, I'm going to address the government's letter, but first, on September 5th, Mr. Combs flew to New York. So this is 30 minutes ago now. We're catching up to what was happening in the courtroom. Diddy's attorney says we could tell an indictment was coming in the fall.
I wonder if he ordered on Amazon or something. You can't get that in a store. Like, they still must have been like, bruh, what's going on here? You know.
From our meetings with the prosecutors' chiefs, my client flew to New York. I told the prosecutors I'd like him to have the opportunity to turn himself in. We got involved in this case March 2024. We've been doing our own investigation. On March 13, I reached out to my colleagues at the U.S. Attorney's Office and asked to meet. The November 2023 lawsuit seems connected. It got attention. They read the papers. After the raids, we took Mr. Combs' passport on April 1st. After that, anytime he traveled domestically, we told prosecutors. A trip to graduations in California, another one for whitewater rafting. We wanted to build trust.
Tracy, for one of his freak-off parties, they ordered 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Just picture what 1,000 bottles of oil would look like in the room that you're in or something. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck? They had to have poured it out into pools and shit, like swimming pools. I don't know what they did with that.
To surrender Mr. Combs.
J-Lo, yep.
To surrender Mr. Combs, flew to New York to say, you want me? I know you want me. Here he is. We were worried that he had an airplane. We said we have to sell it. There's a financial management company that deals with these issues. We're trying. Why are we trying to sell the plane? It's not our first rodeo. The plane, someone else is using it from LA to
my screen, damn it.
Peterborough tonight. Just my luck. I wouldn't have the temerity to come here and ask for freedom if I didn't have the passports. There's one victim in count 2.
You better tip that. They better have gave a good tip to those fucking room cleaners. That's all I got to
charge. Mr. Combs wrote a very large check to someone he was in a relationship with for 10 years. People got in line for their checks. I had no idea 12 victims. I didn't know. I'm happy there's only one. This case we think is eminently manageable.
Let's see how many more people come forward if they think they're safe, that he's like behind bars. I bet more will come out that are afraid right now.
One victim in count 2, the sex trafficking charge. Mr. Combs wrote a very large check to someone he was in a relationship with for 10 years.
Poison up something.
People got in line for their checks. I had no idea 12 victims, question mark. I didn't know. I'm also happy there's only one. This case we think is eminently manageable. Pretrial services says he has a criminal record, but he was acquitted. He is ready to do that again. What is Mr. Combs doing and why? He's here for treatment and therapy. Mr. Combs is not a perfect person. These toxic relationships were mutual. Oh,
what about your victims? Wow. You need therapy.
So this is Combs, Diddy, his attorney talking, and he's trying to say that like it was toxic relationships, but it was mutual. Is what he's saying. Now he is here trying to be better for the rest of his days. If there's one thing we've seen, we should stand with the people who are trying to get the help that they need. Somehow this hotel footage found its way out. I wonder how that happened. We didn't have it. The government had it. Ooh, oh, so he's trying to say the government leaked it. Somehow this hotel footage found its way out. I wonder how that happened. We didn't have it. The government had it. It got out on a day Donald Trump. Why is Trump in everything? On a day Donald Trump didn't have any court proceedings. Mr. Combs saw it and issued an apology. Why did he delete it though? The government had it. It got out on a day Trump didn't have any court proceedings. Mr. Combs saw it and issued an apology. He wanted to do it. 2 people were in a hotel room and issued that Mr. Combs had more than one girlfriend. Okay. Victim 1 was looking through his phone and saw that then he hit him in the head with a cell phone and took his clothing.
He's a demon.
I mean, let's read this again. I guess he's talking about the hotel situation. 2 people were in a hotel room and issued that Mr. Combs had more than one girlfriend. Okay. Victim 1 was looking through his phone and saw that, then hit him in the head with a cell phone. Okay, so he's claiming that the lady, I guess Cassie, hit him in the head after looking through his phone and took his clothing, so he comes out in a towel. These 2 people were in love. Victim 1 ended up marrying the trainer that Mr. Combs got for her. Oh, shit. They had been cheating on each other for years. But now she had 2 kids with the trainer. Years later, she realized she had a good thing with Mr. Combs. What
a good thing?
Easy is this?
I don't think so.
That was 12 minutes ago. Let me refresh and see if let me see if we get some updates on this. What a mess.
If that dolly of documents was for him, no wonder they're running late. Damn.
Okay, it does continue. So
that shit was a dolly of documents.
Okay. She has her lawyers call his lawyer and say she has written a book. But if you want to buy the rights, you'll have the rights for $30 million. So I don't know if this is true or not, but we're kind of hearing like this is the first time we're hearing like Diddy's side of the story, right, through his attorney. Like we've never really he doesn't talk about it. We haven't. So we're now getting the other side. Wow. So he's claiming that this chick was trying to blackmail him.
Right.
I'm gonna write this book and expose
Debbie. They need like a Brinks truck for that shit.
You. But, you know, you can buy the rights to it. You don't have to release it for $30 million. We have a recorded conversation. It did not go well for her and her lawyer. November 2023, she sues. When he contacts witnesses, it's not to stop a criminal investigation. It's to not be seen. That one? What? It's when he contacts witnesses, it's not to stop a criminal investigation. It's to not be seen.
I think we're going to hear more and more all the time for a while.
I don't know. Why is it depicted as a one-sided thing? There's 30 million reasons, $1 a piece, she said. I'm going to write a book and you can buy the rights. His lawyer continues and says the Don Richard law.
Just imagine all the murders that could be connected to him, for instance. I mean, this shit's big.
Lawsuit and Mr. Harper.
Big.
From the same band. The lawsuit says he did a couple of inappropriate things. As Harper said, that was not my experience. That is not intimidation. It's divergent recollections. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think we're going to find that out. One of the things I was worried about, Jillian, or Brie Ellen, was that he was going to bail out or something, but I think it's...
His attorney continues and says, I'm not even sure Don Richard is a witness in this case. My client has done a darn thing.
Tupac,
we have interviewed
Biggie.
At least 6 of these males. We asked, did it seem non-consensual? Anyone too drunk or too high? They all said no. So according to this guy, Diddy's attorney, I mean, it's kind of interesting because they didn't even mention males.
Oh, he could disappear to any island. He would be a flight risk.
Like today, the charges and stuff. It's like they keep saying woman, but I know there's lawsuits and men that have come out and said that things have happened to them. So he says we interviewed at least 6 of these males. We asked them, did it seem non-consensual? Anyone too drunk or too high? They all said no. Then his attorney says, is it sex trafficking if everyone wants to be there? Oh my God. Wow. Wow. No, we don't want the federal government in our bedroom. The kidnapping, we spoke to the victim. She didn't use that word to us. One day it may be heard. Mr. Combs employs a security company. Mr. Combs has nothing to do with how guns are kept in his house. He needs security in the sections of LA and Miami he lives in. Did they do it wrong? Not for us to say. Not his gun. R. Kelly, that involved children. They cannot consent. Yo, he's snapping back. Jeffrey Epstein, children. Keith Rainier, children. We have a substantial bail package. Some family members are here. They love him. A $50 million bond secured by a $48 million piece of property on August 20th. We paid off $18 million mortgage. We know about that. Okay, I got to refresh now. This is so interesting. Okay, let's see.
This indictment's pretty crazy shit. There's pretty crazy shit in here.
So they paid off $18 million on the mortgage, the $48 million property. So it's fully paid off with a $50 bond. It's the house, I guess, in Miami.
It's sped up temporarily to catch up.
We'll have a fair trial. We have substantial defenses to come. We have substantial defenses to each of these charges. Mr. Combs is handling this head on.
There's a little
He's become a punching bag. He's billed.
If you'd like to participate in the poll, you could click my pinned link over there. Will bond be approved? I'm going to put no. I'm going to vote no, hopefully.
Businesses from scratch. His father was killed when he was 2 years old. He earned all of it.
Hey, chaotic.
And then he says, Mr. Combs has earned this court's trust. I have nothing else to say. The judge says, Ms. Johnson, any rebuttal? So now the state's coming back. This is a minute ago. So now
I'm hoping he's watched closely so he doesn't get Epstein.
We're caught up. This is a minute ago. Defense counsel has his critique of law enforcement, but he has not rebutted the presumption that the defendant should be detained. He has not rebutted the presumption that the defendant should be detained. Okay. Refresh it. So the prosecution said their piece. The defense said their piece. Now there's a chance for them to rebuttal.
Well, hurry up with your rebuttal. Jeez, I thought I was going to miss this.
3 days after the November 2023 lawsuit, the defendant recorded.
We're just waiting.
Saying he doesn't want to talk on the phone. It might be tapped. He uses armed security with defaced AR-15 stored in the defendant's personal closet. Absurd.
Damn.
Let's keep. I gotta keep refreshing. Let me put it in the chat. So I did a little poll. What do you guys think was going to be the...
So also when they raided his house earlier, I saw some pictures on Mel's earlier stream. He had all kinds of weapons. Some of them were taken apart, like serious weapons in his closet.
Well, will bond be approved? Yes or no? Do a little poll.
I voted.
So interesting. Okay, still waiting for the update.
Sean Baby Oil Comb. Somebody said in the chat over there.
I'm so glad that we have an idea now what's going on in the courtroom because we've just been sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting. You know.
I can assure you, Johnson & Johnson does not approve.
I'm waiting for the next update. It looks like they're about to wrap up.
Good.
So I wonder if his attorney's going to say anything when they end this. Here we go, another update. For the record, we're proceeding on a theory of lack of consent, that she was coerced to participate in those sex acts. So the judge says he wouldn't be a danger, would he, if he only engaged in these behaviors with consenting adults. And the attorney says, we have the hallway video.
That's what I'm hoping. No bond.
Proceeding on a theory, lack of consent, that she was coerced to participate in those sex acts.
But you know what? Even if he's no bond and locked up, there could be victims that are still scared of the power. Even behind bars, some people that are this dangerous and powerful still could maintain a power that scares others. From the outside, there could be people still working for them in their mind. You know what I mean? So I don't know how at ease some of these people will feel. I don't know.
The judge said he wouldn't be a danger, would he, only if he engaged in the behaviors. That's true, with consenting adults. But because he's supposedly these people are not consenting, I guess they're trying to say maybe it's a danger to the public. Okay, let's see what else we got. The bail, they haven't said yet whether it was denied or not. Right now, that's what they're arguing in the court.
No bail.
And then once they're done arguing it, I guess the judge has to make a decision, and I guess they're going to come out the courthouse after. Let's see. We have the hallway video. Somebody said, wow, where's the judge going? I don't know, man. I don't.
He seems like a guy to be scared of. If this is going to take much longer, I might a little portion of this indictment that I'm holding.
It's hard to say.
It's pretty disgusting.
Somebody said, just point out the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Indicate that the defendant is very slippery. All right, let's see. Refresh. Last message was we have the hallway video. Money talks. It does, right? When you got money, that's true. When you got money.
He must have been shooting that shit at the walls and ceilings. Like, come on. 1,000?
Still waiting on a reply. Better not give him bail.
Oh, yeah. More than that, Jody. More than that.
I wonder if this person has a cell phone they're typing it up on, or a computer in the courtroom.
She gone. Oh, my God. Oh, I got to save that one.
Somebody said you can't get consent if you've been drugged.
Oh, Lord, I got to bring that.
Well, I guess they're trying to argue like they willingly took the drugs, but I don't know, man, because like once you take it and you're so messed up and whatever, I don't know, I guess you can't really consent when you're like really messed up or whatever.
Oh, come on, man.
I mean, they're claiming there's a lot of intimidation and the videos and all this stuff.
That was an accident. My bad.
But the attorney is trying to say that these people are willing participants.
I'm trying to
and that the
upload
toxicity went both ways. That's what he's trying to say.
It's a mistake.
And he's also saying that this lady tried to blackmail him with the book. I don't know. Insane, man.
That should be my thumbnail. I might have to edit my thumbnail.
Somebody on Twitter watching me said, Icky Mel, you're not a good personality. This is weird. I didn't even comment on this person's post. They're just watching the YouTube video and then leaving a comment under the post that I'm reading, even though I haven't left the comment or nothing. Weird.
That's a lot of oil.
All right, let's see. Still waiting for an update. Okay, we got an update.
Update.
So now Diddy's attorney is talking and says this is a slippery slope. Slippery slope. Right?
No, he didn't say slippery.
Whatever. Lube.
No, he didn't say
the
that.
Government is going to say she was coerced. She had to say she had to say that to go for the $30 million. We have a serious bail package. I hope Your Honor can see that Mr. Combs has done things to show that he is trustworthy. Okay, I guess we're getting close to wrapping it up. I hope the judge just decides right now.
You have to use the term, this is a slippery slope. Really? Really? Is that a joke? Is that serious? Why'd he go there? We're talking about oil here.
This chick said the irony.
The irony is right.
All right, we're waiting. See what the judge says.
Let me just read this little short passage from this huge indictment, which is, 14, 15 pages? Anyways, during freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept video he filmed of victims engaging in sex acts with commercial sex workers. After freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. So some of these freak-offs lasted a couple days, and they were so worn out and exhausted from being forced and smacked around and like literally dragged by their hair and forced to do this shit for days straight that they needed IV fluids to recover. And how are those administered? What nurse or doctor or who came in and did these IVs? My question. You know what I mean? That's fucking weird. IV fluids.
If this trial
now, that's
stream,
a party.
so interesting to see.
What
But
do they do?
I don't think they're
I'm gonna skip forward
the
now.
Fed case,
skip forward.
I mean, if Diddy gets out on bail, he's probably gonna be popping his pills and chilling, and I mean, he could have everything delivered to him, his drugs, and
Who did these IVs?
Oh, I didn't know this guy interviewed him. Podcast.
Listen, this is what happened. I say, yo, Big, somebody gonna try to come kill us tonight.
What caused you to flip on him?
Well, you would say flip on him, but I would say let people know what's happening and the truth behind him.
Do you think Diddy was an FBI informant?
Puff was seeing a federal agent.
Right about that. Sugar Pie, I feel like this might be the worst one to date that I've
seen.
Wow, that's way before he becomes somebody.
He's doing a lot of things in DC, and I think it was possibly because there was an incident and some people died. Puff don't listen. Even though I'm still having nightmares about those 9 kids that died at City College. I went to therapy. You'll never get over stuff like that, man.
Before he was famous in the streets of New York, and all of a sudden you and your crew jump him literally to join the gang. You see him go from being a guy putting the parties, and then all of a sudden gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Then you start seeing him really become a star, then a superstar, and you're there from 1990 to 97, and then you're in the car, you're driving Biggie, and Biggie gets shot. You're there to see what takes place, and you're speaking to him when you're going to the hospital, and you have a conversation with him. That's Gene Deal. Some of the stories he told today was very interesting. If you've ever seen a movie, American Gangster, there's Frank Lucas, there's Nicky Barnes. Stories about Diddy's father, Melvin Combs, being tied to working with Nicky Barnes, and he was a hustler, and some of the very interesting story he breaks down. And then his conversation with 50 Cent, something that 50 Cent told him, as well as speaking to Biggie's mom and how Biggie's mom feels about Diddy. Anyways, a lot of stories. Got heated at a point. He got upset at a point, and you'll see him getting very energized and emotional. But if you're somebody that follows the story of what's going on with Diddy, you're going to hear it from a very different perspective than the man who spent hundreds of hours with him behind closed doors. And that's Gene Deal.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could take sweet victory.
I thought this would have been done by now, so my bad, guys.
Of course, murder documents. After gangster Dwayne Keefe D. Davis accused him of paying $1 million for the hit. So today we have Diddy's former bodyguard here with us, Gene Deal, who's made a lot of, listen, he's been talking for many years. And Rob, I think the oldest video we found of Gene to start talking about this stuff was, I believe, 8 years ago.
There were some of the drugs listed that I've never heard of in the indictment. Noel, some of them said they were forced to, and some of these drugs cause people to pass out and shit, and some of them can be dangerous and put you in a coma, like that type of drug. Hence the need for IV recovery from doing the drugs.
Where you're literally looking at the camera talking to Diddy about different stories and things that happened. Here's some of the stories we've heard from you, allegations over the years. Casey Ventura, you allege that Diddy was grooming her, exploiting her dreams and talent for his benefit. Kim Porter claims that Diddy attempted to physically assault his late ex, Kim Porter. Usher You criticized us.
I think some of them had shit put in their drinks too. A lot of them said that, you know, they didn't even know till, you know, they would just wake up and shit was going on.
For praising Diddy despite allegedly being groomed by him when he was a teenager. Tupac, you suggested that Diddy might be implicated in the murder of Tupac, sexual misconduct and federal investigations. You discussed the federal investigation into Diddy's allegations involvement in sex trafficking and sexual misconduct. Continues. Alleged encounter with Ja Rule, meaning they had a sexual encounter together. Freak off tapes. You got murder of Biggie Smalls. You got other sexual misconduct allegations that I can continue going into. I guess, you know, Gene, first of all, appreciate you for being on a podcast and you know, talking about this. And
So someone in the chat over there said he'll be Epstein, and that's something I mentioned earlier. What do y'all think? Do you think they will watch him closely to, you know, to prevent that, knowing that something like that might happen? Do you think something will happen to him in there?
No, the team said you have certain things that you want to talk about that maybe you haven't spoken about before, which I'm looking forward to hearing about that. But my opening question for you would be, you know, when's the first time you and him established a relationship where you started working with him as his bodyguard? And when is the last encounter you had where you worked for him? First time to the last time, what was that timeline?
Well, if you say the first time, it would have to be in round 90 when he got jumped into a group of ours called the Same Gang.
Literally jumped into.
Right.
Like when I think about jumped into, I mean, he's jumped.
Well, he ran first.
Okay.
And
got
then,
it.
And then the guys called him. And if you look on the back of my book, that's the crew right there, you know, on the back of the book. The younger guys called him. We was on 44th and 8th Avenue, 144th Street and 8th Avenue. He ran down to 127th Street. And they caught him and they brought him all the way back up, you know, roughed him up pretty bad.
How bad was it?
It wasn't bad at all, but it was enough to embarrass him real good. Because
the only thing that would prevent me from feeling bad is if it doesn't seem like justice to the victims for making him do his time, you know, because sometimes they might think they're better off, but then they feel like they didn't get the justice if he didn't have to suffer and do the time in jail. So it's kind of hard to say. But also about the freak offs that I was just reading, you know, how they use the IV fluids and everything. I don't think they always knew that they were being drugged, just to comment on that. And some of them might have got hooked on it. It says here on page 7 that he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak offs. He maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. During and separate from freak offs, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims at times by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted participating in freak offs. Victims believed they could not refuse his demands without risking their financial or job security or without repercussions in the forms of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during freak offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. This dude's psycho.
Ferg, who was
I swear, waiting.
He's psycho.
So the judge is back.
He's a devil. He's a demon.
Judge is back.
I know, right? No, like seriously.
Let's see. I want to know.
He put the fear in them. Medical records? What's he doing with their medical records? The fuck? And he also threatened families and stuff. If you don't do this,
Okay, so
your family will disappear.
Counsel should have been there. Why they left?
That. You got that much money and power. I think some people feared that their families would be hurt too if they didn't comply. So there's that.
If you guys could help me out with the like button, I'd appreciate that. Help out the algorithm. Also, oh shit! I was about to say I need to reach 210,000 subs. Like, I went to check how many subs I have, and I have the 210. So thank you.
Wow. Oh shit.
All right. Amazing. So let's see. Okay, prosecutors file back in to the front table. The judge says, Mr. Agnifilo, do we need to wait for your partner? He says, I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're still waiting. I think they're going to give a decision now.
Come on, come on. Here's another portion from page 8. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise enabled Combs' control over victims by following his directions regarding financial payments to the victims, advancing or suppressing the victims' career opportunities, and acquiring the controlled substances Combs used to keep the victims compliant. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise at times witnessed Combs' violence toward victims or the victims' injuries caused by Combs without intervening. Instead, members and associates of the Combs enterprise helped conceal the violence and abuse by, among other things, assisting Combs in monitoring and preventing victims from leaving locations, such as hotels or Combs residences. These occasions including instances which a victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise also assisted Combs in locating and contacting victims who attempted to flee his abuse. Bro. Psycho. Fucking psycho. I mean, I got the whole document. I'll go over it briefly after this. You can print to PDF like I did. I'll show you where you can print it after this. Or, read it for yourself if you want. I just printed it so I could read different parts when I want to, or when I wanted to catch up on it. I thought I'd go over it earlier and maybe highlight certain parts, but I know this was going to happen, and I had an appointment earlier, or I would have came on and went over the other announcements that happened. But this guy's fucking psycho. This shit will blow your mind. Let me see how many pages it is.
I guess his partner, maybe another attorney partner that he has.
The indictment's 14 pages. And again, it was sealed yesterday, so it was just open this morning.
Dipped out when he took a little. This is a really short break.
I got a phone call. I'll be right back.
Thank you so much for the subscribes. Appreciate it. Kim Sparkle said, all these days waiting for the press conference, you're going to need a Diddy IV. That Diddy IV. Okay, still waiting, still waiting.
I mean, the whole indictment is just filled with psycho stuff like that. So you can tell why people are scared. He's like the devil.
So as far as the poll, it said we had almost 1,900 votes. 29% say they believe the bond will be approved. 71% say no.
No bond,
we'll see. We'll see. It'd be really interesting if Diddy gets out, gets to go home under supervision. Oh no.
Oh, I think there'll be other people that will be connected. We don't in that stack of documents.
I want to make sure my internet doesn't act up.
I think the feds have like a 97%.
I was trying to load up the
conviction rate.
Twitter, but it's not working for me.
I think they took their time.
There we go. Oh no. Weird.
I think we're going to find a lot of people connected.
Okay.
A lot of people's trying to hide evidence right now, I bet.
So the judge says, in this case, I find the presumption has not been rebutted. So Sean Combs will be detained.
Yeah. Detained, bitch. That's what you get, motherfucker.
No bail.
No bail, bitch.
Bail or bond?
No, that's
bail
my water fountain in the background. My bad. I have 2 water fountains. One of them I built. I built fountains all around my yard this summer.
Oh. No bail.
Run, but you can't hide.
No bail for Diddy, man. Now we'll see however long it takes to get out. We'll see if they do.
And what about that weirdo Cuba Gooding Jr. that was like, Coombs was grooming one of his people and then he left him with Cuba, and remember Cuba Gooding Jr. started feeling him up and stuff. No, I can't remember who that guy is. I have to look. Is he going to get charged for
no bail
assaulting that guy and touching his nutsack?
Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping for shit. No, I like that.
Hey, no baby oil, bitch. No Vaseline.
Mamma mia. So he's probably not going to be able to get high for a while unless he finds a plug inside.
He's a high-risk
where he's at.
prisoner,
But
too.
it might be hard, right? It's a federal thing. Somebody said, thank God the streets are a lot safer. So no bond.
Yeah, that one, Bird. I'm trying to think where I've seen that.
Yeah, it's being
That's
denied
a pretty
bond.
big story, too.
Bond denied.
He was coming over to spend time with Diddy. Diddy was grooming this one guy for him and then handed him off to him. And he got assaulted by Cuba Gooding Jr.
Diddy.
Allegedly.
Wait, is that what? Did I just see Tickle Tits?
Let's put in the allegedly.
I knew I saw the name.
Maybe I can find
Very
that. Cool. I might find an article on that for
on
after.
Twitter.
Yeah, J-Lo was involved. There's a lot of people.
Let me see what else, if they say anything else.
You're all going
Diddy.
down now.
Diddy's probably pissed. Probably not used to not getting his way. And
But really, will they keep him separate? You know what I mean? Like, he'll still have power in there, don't you think? He's going to always have the highest amount of canteen, and those ramen noodles are money in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll still be able to have power in there by money and shit coming in. I don't know.
money, not get him out of a situation.
Yeah, I'm finding
Sean
that
Combs will
will
remain
Just
detained.
I'm gonna look
Judges
right now.
ruled an SDNY. Inner City Press Live tweeted below. Okay. All right. So I'm wondering if they're going to come out the courthouse now. This is what it looks like outside of the courthouse. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at the microphones, but behind the microphones, a lot of media outside, everybody waiting.
Denied bond,
I wonder if his attorney's going to say anything. I wonder if Diddy has support out there besides his family. Like, is there any bad boy entertainment supporters out there? Take that. The judge says there was significant violence and weapons around. Also, coercion of witnesses, even gentle coercion, can be effective. The type of behavior we're talking about happens behind closed doors. I thank your family members for. I think he meant to say I thank your family members for coming, but I cannot release him. Oof. Cannot. So his sons came there, by the way, for the new people that joined. His sons came in support. They said his daughters weren't there, but his sons came in support. The adult sons.
50 million bond.
And the judge says,
ooh. So on another page, and it's. Did I just knock that off? Shit, hold on. Damn it. I'm sorry. Let me find it. Shit, where'd it go?
So it must be, I'm wondering who's going to do the presser, the attorney?
I found on another page that his P. Diddy's legal team proposed a $50 million bond. $50 million. Well, how'd that work out
prosecution
for
or
you?
the defense or both? Let's see if the judge said anything else.
Watch all the videos on this alleged assault shit. Try to find a video on it.
The attorney was like, just trust me.
It was against Lil Rod Jones. That's the guy who said it got assaulted.
All right, we'll keep waiting to see for the next update for the judge and for these people to come outside. And play a little bit.
What they did, the DJ was playing. They had the DJ contest. That was the building, and they filmed it there. So Puff was actually doing the unsigned hype in that place, and he was having problems, and he needed to get the money home. He needed to get the money home, you know, from collecting the money that night at the place, then make sure he got home safe. So D. Ferg said, why don't you get Gene? Gene will do it for you, you know what I'm saying? So he asked me. So I was making sure that he was taking the money back to, at this time we were going to 111th Street and 5th Avenue, where Kirk Burroughs used to live at. And I would either follow him or drop him off right there at Kirk Burroughs' house.
Now, at this point, is Diddy making money or not yet?
No, he's not making money like
What's
that.
he doing? What kind of money is he pushing? What is he?
I couldn't tell you that, man, finances, but I could tell you that he was doing parties and he worked for Uptown Records.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know the revenue in which he was.
But he's not yet a millionaire. He's not yet driving the cars and the, you know, all that.
He had a Cabriolet, a Volkswagen.
Yeah, that's literally what he drove.
Yeah, that's what he drove.
Okay,
it was convertible. What do you say?
So for you, Gene, at the time, who are you in 1990? Are you somebody with a reputation? And if yes, what's your reputation in 90?
Well, I helped start the same gang. That's the crew that we had. It was me, Mike Owens. They call him Mike Cock at the time. Rick Dawg.
Okay, and the last thing they said, the attorney, for the record, Mr. Combs was arrested last night at 8:25 p.m. The judge says thank you, and we're adjourned. Okay, so the court is done for today. Let's see if they walk outside. Let me see if I find a. I think this is no audio.
Wow. I didn't know he had previous rape charges too against him. Gooding. I'm reading something else on the side here.
Damn, yo. My thumbnail, isn't that so creepy? Such a creepy picture of Diddy.
Ugh. People are sick.
Please. So what's the plan? The plan is that no one gets...
Guys, we should just all gang up on the videographer, right?
Sounds good.
You tell us what to do, and we'll do it.
Let's just all be good to each other.
Okay. Are we staying long lens until a certain point?
Come on, people. Come on.
What point is that?
Honestly, the point to the first person doesn't.
So you fucking start walking in front of them. We're with you.
I'm going to hold until they get to the bottom of the stairs.
Okay, that's fair. Look at this crew. They're all the same. They look like that Robert Palmer video.
That's the crew. That's from this case.
Undenied.
6 a.m. for this shit. 6 a.m. I know. I'm glad I got here early enough. I'm glad I was only 8. Courtroom always takes okay. Almost. Steve Sands, why does he keep saying those dirty things?
I'm sorry.
I've had this conversation with you before, Steve.
See, I keep wanting to read another article, but I keep thinking they're going to come out, and they don't. Yes, Precious Chaos. Just I'm not very good in there. I'm not as knowledgeable as many people are.
They're going to have absolutely no idea what direction to start walking in.
That way.
Some looks like him. That's the case. What? They're going to go that direction.
Because I like this spot.
Diddy.
What if they go that way?
See what I see a giant pain in my ass.
You asked.
Asked and answered.
Asked and answered. Okay.
No, I kept my name the same as the YouTube, so it would be obvious.
Counselor?
It's amazing, Tim. It's amazing that fucking Steve Sands was able to shot for like a fucking less than an hour and just already caused trouble.
What did he do? Is that why people are yelling over there?
Yeah, because he's fucking threatening Barry. He's like, oh, slash your time.
I wish I could figure out how to do a split screen.
He's
like
did he
pull
really
up
threaten
an article.
Yeah. Out of control.
Come on, Diddy. What's up, everybody? We're hanging out with me today. It's been a long day. Long day. Bail denied. The diddler. Somebody, Eric Confident on our Facebook predicts that he could go to jail for decades on the RICO charge.
My soul feels like the way.
Here's the question I have. Do you think it's possible that, knowing that anticipation of all this happening, is there any legal way that he could have signed the rights to some of his money over to protect it, like to some of his kids? Do you think the kids could be in charge of some of that? You know what I mean? Like, how does that work? Or do they use it all? Like, what if he signed over, like, let's say he stashed 100 million or whatever with a son and gave it to him as a gift or so, and it's in his son's name? Is that something that could happen? Just a question I have.
The attorneys. Lock them up.
Getting ready for your favorite week of the year?
What's that?
Next week? General debate?
It's going to be good.
It's going to be a good year, right?
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Make a little short video for this thing.
Tuesday's looking good.
I think we're getting
Tuesdays,
closer.
yeah. Good lineup, right?
Good lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I missed one earlier to appointment.
By Wednesday.
They're going to play they're going to play Rocket Man. They're going to play
Actually, I didn't even get to hear the whole thing. I only heard first couple of minutes. Now that you mention it, thanks for
We're
reminding
the
me.
best country in the world. They're going to play the Born in the USA.
Yeah.
Don't forget you throw a security council into that mix.
That's one of them.
You see somebody?
Yeah, the road guy, he's on the red hat.
That's a good dog.
Oh, here they are.
Dog's been very patient. Here they come. Are they coming?
Heads up.
With the attorney?
I think that is his attorney. I seen him talking earlier.
Attorney? I'm not sure. That's
That's what he looked like.
You guys are creeping up on the right. We're going to have to go wide angle in here.
Yeah, I think there was something with one of the kids, to tell you the truth. SG, I just can't what the charge was.
We don't have a choice. I think we're going by that.
For allegation. I don't remember what it was.
Well, I mean, I'm already getting
Oh, it looks like two sides. It is different. It looks like
1 second here.
500 Pearl Street. But the long
Come on,
comment
y'all,
says
get it
200.
together.
This was like a different thing. It doesn't say 200, I guess.
If you did, I didn't notice it yet. I'll take a look. I actually haven't checked my own personal one. I don't think since I made it.
This is
My
the
bad.
guys that lag behind first.
I forget I have that one too. I'm sorry. I'm horrible with text messages. I don't mean to be. I just forget a lot.
So this was the first step. We have a bail appeal scheduled for tomorrow at 3:30 in front of Judge Carter, the district judge assigned to this case. I think that we made the points that we've been wanting to make. I think he came out. Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent.
Really, a
he
fighter?
came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. He's been looking forward to this day. He's been looking forward to clearing his name, and he's going to clear his name. And we're going to stand by his side as he does. We believe in him wholeheartedly. He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, someone who brought a civil case and now is finding themselves as a witness in a criminal case. And we're going to fight this case with everything we have, as is he. And eventually he's going to be shown to be innocent. And so tomorrow we fight again, and we'll fight every day until we don't have to fight anymore.
Were you being detained last night instead of today?
I don't know.
That's pretty nervy.
Why did it happen last night instead of today? I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, you know.
We I just want to make one point very clear.
Cocaine.
We have no power. All we can do is show good faith. He got on a plane and he came here. And if he stayed here for one day before the case started, or for 1 year before the case started, he was going to stay as long as he needed to stay. It ends up being only 12 days. That's fine. That's what the government want to do. The government didn't want him to turn himself in. He came here to turn himself in. Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in. But we're going to make all these points again tomorrow, and we'll make him as much as we can until we get him out. So that's all I have.
Wow.
Huh?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Wait, what was the question? We're appealing it. We're no bail. He's detained.
We're appealing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're appealing the decision to hold him without bail. Tomorrow at 3:30. 3:30. Same place.
Ooh.
Bail appeal. Bail appeal tomorrow at 3:30. Same courtroom. Different judge. He's doing fine. He's a fighter. And he's going to fight this. All right, I'm going to go.
Oh, please.
I don't get into that stuff.
Okay, what is it? Tomorrow, 2 p.m.?
He thinks he's going to fight for bail to get bail tomorrow. That's a joke.
Bail appeal. Bail appeal tomorrow, 3:30, same courtroom. Different judge.
Luck for that, bitch.
He's doing fine. He's a fighter. And he's going to fight this. All right, I'm going to go. Thank you.
You mean abuser?
I don't get into that stuff.
How are the twins? Are they doing
Everyone's doing okay.
Lame. Nice book bag.
So now I guess we're ready for the prosecution maybe to come up. I don't know if they're going to say something, make some comments. But tomorrow, 3:30.
Oh, they had reason. They literally said they had reason. There was a reason that they went a day early. Maybe they'll address. Hello, Nancy. Maybe they knew, or it was tapped or something. Maybe they knew that he had drugs and was doing some last drugs, like a last hurrah or whatever, because they found the pink stuff, the pink cocaine or whatever. So they had reason to go a day earlier. I mean, they did already say that. His lawyer's playing dumb. Who's next? I want to hear the prosecution. I wonder if he'll be kept
Okay, so we're back to waiting.
for protection, alleged.
Oh, check this out. Hold on.
What do they do with high
they got
profile?
Diddy? Oh, this is family. Hold on.
High profile prisoners.
Bail appeal. Fight into that stuff.
Okay. How are the twins?
Give us some space.
Where's the support?
Guys, you got it, bro. You gotta move it.
That is
got
done?
it. Use your legs.
I think it's his kids.
That's his kids.
Are you expecting him to be released today, or are you surprised?
They're not saying nothing.
Wall. Sorry.
He did his kids.
Move back.
Why are you
What's going on?
Guys. Oh, now we're back.
Damn, cameraman.
Media frenzy.
How can you support your father?
Oh, man.
I am betting that the appeal will be denied.
Support him moving forward.
How can you support your father?
You are an issue.
God, he just touched him.
Anything that you
Careful, pedestrians, careful.
That's supposed to be a bodyguard?
Keep it strong. Watch now. I'm happy to see. Yes.
Does the attorney have anything to say? How are you feeling, sir?
Garrison.
Watch your baby, watch your baby.
Anything you'd like to share? Any comment? How important was it for you and your brothers and your cousins to be here today?
Man, look at all those cameras. They're getting bored. They don't give up. These kids are not talking. Oh, sugar and spice.
It's weird that he uses the word government and not state, maybe trying to spin a narrative. Same with the Trump comment earlier.
All an Uber. That's their Uber.
Or it's the Fed.
They don't even drive.
Thank you. They're chasing the people.
I'm surprised they didn't pick them up at the
Yeah,
door.
get it. Zombies in New York. Get it.
All right, there you go. There you go.
Damn.
All right. Okay.
That's what I'm wondering at. I don't know. Who still has power? They might be afraid of who he can still hire behind bars. This guy has massive power.
Incredible.
One guy was one son. The other two, the one that we were on from the beginning. Yeah, he was one with the hat. That was one son. With the other two sons, they came in after into the yeah. The other two was no one said anything to anybody, right? All right. Green County. Yeah. Brilliant.
All right, that's it.
Mike Clay.
I thought we were waiting for another statement.
Wow, I guess that's it for now. Prosecution's not going to say anything.
That's what I was hoping for.
What a day. What a day, man. Crazy.
Oh, I wanted the prosecution.
Somebody said it's going to be Epstein. Peanut Lay says it's going to be Epstein. Oh, boy.
You think he has a chance in hell in the bond tomorrow? I think not.
What a day. All day, man. We've been online since this morning. Early morning.
They gone.
I guess that's it. What an interesting day. Thank you guys so much again for hanging out with me. I'm going to take a break, but please, if you wouldn't mind subscribing.
Yes.
Tomorrow, let's try to check it out at 3:30 tomorrow, because maybe we can get some transcripts
Bond hearing
of the appeal. I don't think he's going to get the appeal,
Me
but
neither.
I don't know. The attorney seems hopeful and saying it's a different judge.
Different judge They're going to ask $50 million. Good luck with that.
Jail is not bail. Sean Combs is ordered detained by the SDNY Inner City Press.
You gone.
Okay. Diddy offered $50 million. What a day. What a day, man. And
That's
thank
nuts.
you. We hit a 210,000.
I didn't
So if
even
you wouldn't
get to
mind
see the press
subscribing, if you haven't
conference.
done so already, I appreciate it. And if you haven't seen any of the previous videos today, check it out.
Yeah, well,
Awesome.
see this one?
And we'll be following the Diddy case. All right. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Take care.
I'm not done
Peace.
just
Bye.
yet.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
Not just yet.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah, what a day today. It's incredible. It was just
Let
great.
me see if I can find the from earlier. I didn't get to see it. Show the Cuba thing. Oh, I hate when I do that. I'm gonna stop that one. Let me go back. Okay, lives. I'm just trying to find something else real quick. This is the press conference, I think. Come back over here. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just have to find the
PM today.
Let's just see if I can find. Oh God, I can't see it. I don't know if you guys can hear the background noise. My neighbor's got some music going now. I think it was in here, but I can't see it. Oh wait, here it is.
Some breaking news.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Did you guys already all see this? I'm thinking about playing it. It's only 14 minutes, so I'm going to play it. This is from earlier, and I had some interruptions to where I couldn't do it, so I'm going to just play this.
We're going to listen to this press conference. That's Damian Williams, U.S. District Attorney from New York City, on the latest with Diddy.
The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes.
That's what I'm
During
hoping,
the March
Debbie.
2016 incident at the LA
Make the
hotel
bitch
that I
pay.
mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs's crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs's residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs's electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether.
Oh my God.
Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity.
Sound
And it
dirty.
contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well, we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced. Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there.
There was talk about butt plugs earlier in this stream, and I'm like, oh, here we are
Now, I
again
want to be
with butt
clear
plugs.
about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly. Anyone with information can call 1-877-4-HSI-TIP.
They're scared for their life, it
I want
sounds
to
like.
express my deep appreciation for the victims and witnesses who have used their voices and helped bring this criminal conduct to light. We would not be here without them. I also want to thank the dedicated case agents on the HSI Trafficking in Person Squad in New York.
That house,
They have been with us since day one and have worked tirelessly on this investigation. They will continue to be invaluable partners to us. I also want to thank the incredible agents and analysts from SDNY who have also provided tremendous assistance on this case. I'm deeply grateful for their continued work. And finally, I want to thank the outstanding career prosecutors from SDNY who are handling this case. Meredith Foster, Emily Johnson.
So much for all those designer fashion, huh? He's going to be wearing those jailhouse slides. You go.
Chrissy Slavic, Madison Smeisler, and Mitzi Steiner, and their supervisors, Jamie Backleeper and Jacqueline Kelly. They are members of the Civil Rights Unit in our criminal division. We created the Civil Rights Unit when I became U.S. Attorney. I am deeply proud of their work on this and so many other cases. I'll now take some questions.
Aaron Katursky, ABC.
Thanks, Nick. Damien, thanks. The indictment describes aggressive, open, violent, hedonistic abuse that you say was recurrent and widely known. Why did it take law enforcement so long to intervene? How many women were victimized by Sean Combs and how many others were involved?
Look, our investigation is ongoing. We are committed to bringing justice to everyone who's been victimized by the defendant. I can't tell you why it took so long. I think the better focus is on the fact that we are here today. And
I heard some talk of him owning his local police department too, like making large donations and shit like that.
we are committed to making sure that justice is done. Next question.
Thank you. Julia Ainsley, NBC.
Thank you for doing this. You said we are not done and that Combs
seen a
did
lot
not
of
do
it,
this
but I'm not
alone.
sure
Do
about
you
that
foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
The P. Diddy camp. Yeah, I saw
John
that.
Fisher, Newsday.
What's the difference between the sex trafficking and promoting travel for the purpose of prostitution?
Well, there are different crimes with different elements. I don't think we should get into the nitty gritty of the legal discussion right now, but the sex trafficking, we believe they're all serious offenses, but the sex trafficking conduct carries some significant penalties, and we are gratified that we were able to bring that charge.
One more coercive than the other?
I'm not going to be able to get into that, but you can look it up, and yes, sex trafficking, especially when it involves coercion or force, is a very serious crime, and it carries significant penalties.
He had busloads of people, sex workers, brought in to some of these places and literally forced people to do stuff to each other for days, sometimes 48 hours, days on end, no matter how tired they are, shit thrown at them, their hair pulled, dragged across rooms, and made to do shit with other people, forced him to have sex with other people so he could watch and get his freak on. He's a weirdo.
Good afternoon, Darla Miles, ABC 7 New York. Thank you for this press conference and for the details. 2 questions. In context of
these things were so hard on people's bodies for being forced for multiple days to do this in some cases that after these freak offs, they required the people to get IV treatment. I want to know about that and who these people are that came in and did these IV treatments for their recovery because they were so exhausted.
this indictment and the information that was presented to the grand jury, are you able to clarify the number of victims?
I know, right? She was tossing her hair.
Plural in the indictment, but can you specify the number of victims just for this particular indictment? And secondly, can you provide details about the alleged arson?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide either. The number of victims, you are correct. We are intentional in saying multiple. The details of the arson incident are limited to what we have in the indictment and also the detention letter that we filed, which contains more details than the indictment does at various points. But we don't have anything more beyond that. Next question.
Lynn Tran, CNN.
Are any of his accomplices or associates under investigation? And additionally, could he face any more charges?
Bet so.
So the investigation is ongoing. That means both as to him and to anyone else who we believe committed the crime.
How did I know he was going to say that?
Next question.
Julianne Papa.
Hi, good morning from 1010 Wins. Any indication that some of the women or victims here were imprisoned in his residences? And did he have locations where he kept them? And did they were not allowed to leave? And also, he's indicted here, although there were searches and raids in LA, Miami. Why in New York?
Well, I'm biased. I'm the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. I think that we have an outstanding track record of bringing some of the most impactful, sprawling, complex, difficult sex trafficking, human trafficking, labor trafficking, you name it. The Southern District of New York can do it. And so we're very proud of that. And so the scope and complexity of this investigation isn't something that we ran from. It's something that we embrace, and we will continue to do that. As to your question about whether he imprisoned anyone, all I can say is that, I mentioned this March 2016 incident where something was caught on video where a victim was attempting to flee, and there was violence that was associated.
It literally says in the indictment, the 14-page indictment, which I printed out and am holding in my hand, that he kept people in some cases entrapped in hotels and his residence and didn't allow them to leave. So the answer is yes.
With it.
According to the indictment.
That was at a hotel.
Matthew Lee, Inner City Press.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Does your office intend to seek remand, or are you reaching a bail package? And if you're willing, how would you contrast this with the R. Kelly case in EDNY in terms of the elements? Thanks.
So we will be seeking detention. We have filed a letter laying out our reasoning for seeking pretrial detention. I'm not going to be able to expand beyond what's in the letter, but it contains all of the reasoning, and it contains the law as well. There is a presumption of detention in a case like this, and we think that's warranted.
John Anise, New York Daily News.
Thank you. I was hoping to get some more detail about the searches of his residence, the guns, the cases of lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst the residents? Were they all scattered around the houses in one place? I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of how that stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 defaced AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts along with magazines with ammunition loaded in them. So some of that detail is in the detention letter. Beyond that, I'm not going to be able to get into where other items were stored.
Ben Kochman, Post.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Your office was the office that had been prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein before he died in custody. I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with Combs' safety in custody, given what happened with Epstein?
Oh,
so we are concerned with anyone's safety whenever they are detained prior to trial. It's part of our obligations to keep people safe as well. It's part of the criminal justice system. So, but I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and what may or may not happen to any other defendant while they are detained pre-trial. And of course, the decision whether to detain the defendant will be up to a judge. Our position is that pre-trial detention is warranted under the law and based on the facts of this case. And I'll leave it at that.
Are some of the prosecutors on this case some of the same prosecutors that had been handling that, or that worked on the Maxwell case?
So I'm not going to get into the staffing. I will say that this team, this group of AUSAs, this incredible group has been working on this case around the clock, and they've had their hands full. Next question.
Gus Rosendale, NBC News.
Good morning, sir. Combs' attorney said that his client has been cooperative with investigators. He said that this morning. I was wondering if you would have a reaction to that.
Actually, he made him try to sound like he's a great human being, is the way I took it.
Let me just say this. I think that generally with increasing frequency, the word cooperative or cooperating has taken on tremendous elasticity and it no longer really bears any relation to what the word means when we use it in a very specific context. So responding to lawful process and the like does not qualify as cooperation when we use that term here.
Mike Sisak, AP.
Thanks. To that end, was there any discussion of Mr. Combs surrendering? I understand he was taken into custody at a hotel in Manhattan last night, and maybe that wasn't the plan. Can you elaborate on how that came about and why that was?
I'm not going to be able to get into any sort of operational details as to how he was taken into custody and when. He isn't.
This morning, it was said that there was a reason that they had to take him a day early. I want to know what happened, but maybe we will find that out soon.
In custody right now. He will be appearing in court later today.
Maybe tomorrow.
Was there any discussion of him surrendering, given they claim he's cooperating?
I'm not going to be able to get into law enforcement tactics or operations.
You make a big deal of the guns, but how come they're not charged outright or with obliterating serial numbers?
Well, I can't get into the charging decision. It is very meaningful to us that weapons were possessed, as we allege in the indictment. Part of the reason why this conduct was so pervasive and harmful was because victims and others didn't necessarily feel comfortable denying him his wishes, as we allege, because of the presence of firearms. I should leave it there.
Thanks. Last question, Jacob Shameson.
Jacob Shamsian, Business Insider. Thank you. Given that he's the sole defendant in this case and that you allege he's part of a conspiracy that involves members of his companies, do you anticipate a superseding indictment that bring allegations against other members of his companies or other co-conspirators as well?
Yes.
I can't take anything off the table. Anything is possible. Our investigation is very active and ongoing. And I think a lot of you who cover this office know that when we say such things,
Debbie, I'm wondering where he had time, since the raid. What do you think he could have done legally? Like, is there have any legal transfers of property taken place? Like, he didn't just, you know what I mean? They didn't just raid and he went to jail. He's had time to think and talk to lawyers for all this time while they've been investigating before he just got arrested. Has he taken any property and changed hands with his sons, and is it legal? You know what I mean? Like, that shit might not even be in his name anymore. And does work? I have no idea.
Developments are certainly foreseeable, but I cannot predict them sitting here today. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You might have tried to be
All right, so
sneaky.
you just heard from U.S. District Attorney Damien.
You might have tried to be sneaky and clear. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's going to work, though. Let's see. Is this the article? I got two different. Let me switch to this one. So this happened this morning, I believe. Let me see if I got the date right. I didn't really have time to put this together, by the way, so bear with me. I just want to make sure I got the date correct. I could have sworn this happened this morning. Oh, all right. It says 21 hours ago. Derek Lee Cardello Smith, a prison inmate, claims that Combs dragged and sexually assaulted him at a party in '96. Because Combs didn't respond to the suit, the court entered a default judgment against him for $100 million. Is this the one? Let's see who shared me this link. Precious Chaos. I don't know if this is the one that involves Cuba Gooding Jr. Let's see. Let's watch it. It's very recent, though. He didn't respond, and the judgment, $100 million, was awarded to this prisoner. This doesn't make sense to me quite, but I haven't watched the full thing yet, so let's watch this one.
Derek Lee Cardello Smith, a temporary restraining order. Do you wish to argue the motion today, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sean Diddy Combs is fighting back against the man who just won a $100 million judgment against him in a sexual assault lawsuit. We're going to break down the latest
100 million G's.
Legal
in prison will buy you a lot of ramen noodles.
Filings from the controversial music mogul. Will he have to pay? We'll talk about it. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
It's a lot of honey buns.
All right, we have this follow-up to a Sean Diddy Combs story that we at the time really didn't know what to make of it. It kind of came out of left field, but it turns out there is a lot happening here. So this concerns Derek Lee Cardello Smith. He is an inmate at Ernest C. Brooks Correctional Facility out in Michigan. He's currently serving up to a 75-year prison sentence for criminal sexual conduct and kidnapping charges. But we aren't really talking about his criminal history so much as we are talking about the fact that he filed a massive...
If he is awarded all that money and never gets out of prison, I mean, only thing he'll get out of that really is just full canteen. You know, he's not going to be able to get out and enjoy it.
Lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs while he's in prison. And now a Michigan court determined he won through a default judgment. And now Sean Diddy Combs is fighting back. There is a lot to get into. I will explain. So Cardello Smith claims that Combs drugged and sexually assaulted him at a party in Detroit back in 1997. Cardello Smith's complaint against Combs states, quote, I then went to get another drink and Sean asked me if I needed something else. I said no, and he said, here, drink this one. And I thought it was another glass of Jim Beam, so I took it because I had sat one down in the other room, and then I drank some more, and I stayed sitting there and began getting drowsy and started to pass out. And then
So this came up earlier in my chat where people were, mentioning like if you took the drugs willingly, this is what I think he did a lot of the times, slip shit in people's drinks. So a lot of the times they didn't even know, or they would just wake up and be blacked out and they don't know what happened to them.
Sean Combs said to me, I added a little something to it for you. I will get that from you anyway, one way or another.
As the guy was passing out.
And then
that's creepy
Cardello
shit.
Smith claims that when he woke up, Combs allegedly told him that he had assaulted him. Now, Combs didn't use those words. It's more graphic. But essentially, he said that he assaulted him while he was unconscious. Cardello Smith claims that he left, never went back. He alleges he filed a police report, but he couldn't talk about what happened to him. He says that it was therapy in prison that helped him realize he was a victim of rape. And then he alleges that after he files this $100 million lawsuit against Combs, he says recently Combs and or his associates came to the Michigan prison in person to see him and to offer him $2.3 million to dismiss the lawsuit. He claimed Combs said, you know how we get down, to which Cardello Smith allegedly responded, well, I disagree with how you get down. As we sort through all these legal filings surrounding Sean Combs, can I just take a second to tell you guys about something positive for once, something that I think you're going to really, really love.
Don't tell me it's a
Would
commercial.
you want cash back when you buy gas and groceries?
No.
That's where our amazing partner comes in, our sponsor of Sidebar, Upside. They can help.
Oh, embed commercials.
I slept this off, and this was an interesting turn, is that a Michigan judge had granted Cardello Smith's petition for a temporary restraining order in order to prevent Combs from selling any real property for a period of 90 days. This was after Combs had listed his LA house for sale. This was during a hearing in August that we covered. And this was a big win for Cardello Smith, who was representing himself, especially for a guy with a history of being very litigious, filed numerous criminal appeals and civil complaints. I mean, honestly, I was looking at his filings and the terms that he was using. I got to say, for a guy without the resources of a law firm and no proper legal education, it was pretty good. And I mean, it worked. He got the judge to grant the TRO, but it didn't end there. No, because he also asked the court at the time to enter a default judgment against Combs because he claimed Combs didn't file an answer to the summons and complaint that he had served upon him. So the judge let him know about next steps. And we looked at the court papers, and included is a signed, sworn declaration from Cardello Smith that he did serve Combs with this summons and complaint. That'll be important in a minute. Now, a little background here. A default judgment is when the court says, look, you automatically lose this case because you failed to take some sort of action. Now, at the time of the hearing back in August, here's a little bit of the back and forth between the judge and Cardella Smith.
So you're going to have to file the affidavit and request for default, okay?
Okay. Yes, Your Honor.
And obviously you'll be able to file that before a pretrial date anyway, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, so the order was granted?
The order, your ex parte motion was granted, or your motion for a temporary restraining order was granted. I've signed it. And so we'll get that processed and back to you, and then you'll have to obviously serve that on the parties.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Can your order say any, Your Honor, can you add on your order any Michigan representatives of him acting on his behalf for Michigan properties as well as part of that order? Or does your order cover everything?
You provided the order, so I'm going off.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah, so I'm going off the order you provided to me, and I've signed that order already.
That's what I needed. Thank you. All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Cardello Smith, and we'll make sure the writ's done, and we'll see you back in September. Thank you.
You got one, Jillian.
And that is exactly what happened. Combs apparently never responded, including to appearing at a virtual court hearing, and the court entered a $100 million default judgment against him. So now he has to pay $10 million a month starting in October. Well, as soon as this became public, you know what happened? Sean Combs responded. So that's what we're going to get into right now. What just happened? Sean Combs' legal team made 2 filings fighting back, and we want to talk about them. The first is Combs' motion to set aside the default judgment. And the reason he says is because he claims
I used my monthly free memberships. They give you 10 to give away to small channels. So congratulations if you got one.
He was never served with the summons or complaint, despite what Cardella Smith says. He claims the first time he ever even.
Ash, did you know you got free ones? I did a tutorial on how to do it for other small channels at one point, but if you need help with that, I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, anybody that has a small channel, they give you 10.
Learned about this lawsuit was when the media reported about this default judgment and ruled he would owe $100 million. I guess he didn't.
It does look kind of funny though, doesn't it?
When we first caught wind of this lawsuit. But anyway, he explains that had he been notified in a timely manner,
I'm not sure, Bert. No, I think you might have got him
Combs
already.
explains that under Michigan law,
maybe you got him from one of my last lives, maybe. I don't know. I think Jody donated some.
In order to be served with court papers through certified mail, he has to acknowledge receipt, and a copy of the return receipt has to be signed by him. According to Combs, that didn't happen.
And you got cool stickers.
He even said that the listed address
upload some more,
wasn't his primary current address. And he also says that the dates that Cardella Smith puts forward, they're all mixed up, which shows that Combs wasn't properly served. So Combs explains that a proof of service that was filed by Cardella Smith claims that he mailed 1 copy of this pleading on May 31st, 2024. This was 10 days before Cardella Smith filed the complaint. But Combs says that right there shows Cardella Smith didn't properly serve him because he was supposed to be served both with a complaint and a court-issued summons. But remember when I said that the dates were mixed up? Combs says that in Cardella Smith's return of service filing, he says the service was made in July 6, 2021. That was 3 years before filing the complaint. So the dates are all mixed up. But Combs also explains that even if he had been properly served, the default judgment should nonetheless be set aside because he can show good cause for the delay and he has strong defenses to these claims. He says once he found out about the default judgment from the media, he immediately responded. He immediately retained Michigan counsel. He moved to set aside the default judgment 3 days later. And this is where he gets into it. So what are those defenses, right? Well, Combs calls this lawsuit frivolous. He says that the allegations are unbelievable. He actually calls them, quote, made up. And interestingly, in an affidavit from Sean Combs that is attached to his filings, it says, quote, I do not know the plaintiff Derek Lee Cardello Smith.
Oh,
I never
yeah,
assaulted
right.
the plaintiff. I never paid Detroit police officers or
He said he don't know him. There's pictures with him.
Monroe police officers to keep any assault hidden. I never visited the plaintiff in prison. He claims that Cardelo Smith can't keep his story straight because in his complaint, he claims he was sexually assaulted by Combs after meeting him in a restaurant in Detroit. But then, in his pretrial statement, he claims that this happened in Adrian, Michigan. He also calls this allegation of a conspiracy between Combs and high-ranking judicial and law enforcement officials in Wayne County, Michigan, to force Cardelo Smith to sign an agreement to keep silent. He says that this is fantastical.
Huh.
Combs says that Cardelo Smith's
No, P. Diddy wouldn't do a thing like that, would he? Bribe someone? Nah.
narrative is impossible to follow and doesn't explain why, in one instance, Cardelo Smith would have given Combs $150,000 and Combs would have agreed to trade 49% of his net worth over to Cardelo Smith. Combs says Cardelo Smith wants this court to believe that a judge, a sheriff, a police officer all signed handwritten confessions to crimes. Says that this is absolutely absurd, and also is absurd the idea that he visited him in prison. Now, aside from these defenses and saying that this is totally fabricated.
Well, even if he said and tries to deny that he visited him in a prison, if that is true, when you visit, I'm sure there's some sort of log. There's going to be cameras. When you go to visit, I'm sure you sign in. They check you out and stuff. That can be verified, right? Right.
Combs also says that even if you take these sexual assault allegations as true, the statute of limitations on these claims ran out, expired 17 years before the lawsuit was filed. So now you might be saying, okay, these are pretty good arguments by Sean Combs, right? You could see how if Combs had responded promptly, he may have been able to assert these defenses and get the case thrown out.
But oh well, the judge just ruled in his favor, didn't she?
But of course, the question is, now that a default judgment has been entered, is it too late now? What's the law on this? Well, under Michigan law,
can he appeal
a
it?
Default judgment could be set aside if the
he's in jail now. Can he appeal from jail?
court lacks jurisdiction, or if you can show good
you're
cause
right, Jody.
and a defense on the merits of the case. Combs claims he meets both criteria. First, Combs claims that the court lacks personal jurisdiction over him. Why? Because he says, as I mentioned before, that he was never properly served the papers. This is a due process requirement. You need to be made aware of allegations against you so you can defend yourself. And Combs cites case law in support of this. For example, he cites an unpublished opinion. By the way, those are court decisions that aren't listed in the official register of cases. They can be cited, but it seems that Michigan courts, like other courts across the country, don't really love you relying on them. Anyway, one decision that Combs relies on here is Jacobs v. George. This is a court of appeals case that held, quote, because defendant did not acknowledge receipt of the registered mail containing the summons and complaint, and the registered mail receipt filed with the circuit court reflected the signature of someone other than the defendant, he was not properly served, and the court abused its discretion by denying defendant's motion for relief from default judgment. So a very similar fact.
Yes, Debbie, that is very sweet. And all the people that, have the channels do appreciate that, because it does, to help us keep all the shit running, to pay all the, the costs and shit associated for all the stuff we pay for. So we do appreciate it.
Pattern in a way to Sean Combs. Now, in terms of good cause, that portion of the test here, in terms of if you can set the default judgment aside because of good cause, Combs claims he has a reasonable excuse for failing to respond because he wasn't served. And he further states that it would be manifestly unjust to not set aside the default judgment. So two prongs of that good cause test. Combs says he meets both. In terms of meritorious defenses, and that's a reason, again, that the default judgment should be set aside. Now, Combs says that Cardelo Smith, he can't win on the merits of this case, because not only does Combs deny everything and say this is all made up, but the claims, as I mentioned before, he makes the argument are time-barred.
Oh, please.
That the sexual assault claims are from 27 years ago, and under Michigan law, the statute of limitations to bring a lawsuit on such claims is 10 years. He would have had to bring this in by 2007. Also, interestingly, Combs then cites a Michigan Supreme.
Is there a time limit, though, on SA crimes? I don't know.
Supreme Court case that said
It's all different.
courts have to look at several factors for good cause and meritorious defenses in order to set aside a default judgment. And he claims that 5 of the 7 factors weigh in his favor. Number 1.
Exactly.
The time period between the entry of the default judgment and a filing of the motion to set it aside. Combs says it was 3 days. Once he found out what was going on, he didn't delay on it, retained counsel. As soon as he found out, he tried to get this default judgment set aside. Number 2, whether there was defective process or notice. We already talked about that there. 3, the circumstances behind the failure to file. Again, Combs claims he had no knowledge of this action. That's why he didn't file a response. 4, whether the failure to file by Sean Combs was knowing or intentional. Combs says this was completely unintentional. 5, the size of the judgments and the amount of costs. Now, this is interesting because Combs says $100 million, that's extraordinary. It is incompatible with any measure of damages. Even if Cardello Smith won this case, $100 million, even if these allegations are true, he says it's nonsense. So Sean Combs is looking for an immediate hearing on this issue. He is asking the court to put this default judgment to the side. He is asking for an award of sanctions. He is asking for his attorney's fees to be paid. And if the court should find that Combs has to respond to Cardello Smith's complaint, then give him 21 days to do it. Now, as I mentioned, that was one filing from Combs. The other is regarding Cardello Smith filing a motion seeking a TRO, the restraining order, the injunction that stopped Combs from selling the property. I'm going to briefly go over this other filing by Sean Combs, but I want you to listen to this first line in Combs' motion to dissolve the TRO. It says, quote, "This is a frivolous lawsuit against a prominent businessman based on obvious fabrications filed by a convicted
prominent businessman,
rapist, and serial litigant with an overactive imagination and a thirst for fame." Wow.
Okay.
Now, in Combs' filing, he again reiterates that he wasn't properly served, that he wasn't aware of this lawsuit, and then he more specifically explains why Cardello Smith is not entitled to a TRO or an injunction. First, Combs says that Cardello Smith has failed to identify an immediate and irreparable injury or loss or damage. Second, Combs says he hasn't met the requirement of an injunction because you have to show a likelihood of winning this case on its merits. And
this will all
as we
be
previously
interesting.
discussed, we know why Combs believes Cardello Smith can't do that. Also, he says that Cardello Smith would have to show that he suffered some irreparable harm should the injunction not be granted. But Combs says there is nothing like this here. Cardello Smith is looking purely for money damages. That's it. Combs cites case law to establish that that is not irreparable harm. You can resolve this in a lawsuit. A TRO or an injunction is about the court stepping in to stop something from happening immediately. There's a sense of urgency there.
Well, this little
Otherwise,
clip's almost
someone
over.
would suffer a tremendous injury if the court didn't jump in. I'll give you an example. If you stop a foreclosure of a home that someone is living in, that you can understand. If you don't do that, there is immediate harm. And finally, Combs says that Cardello Smith can't prove that an injunction is in the public interest. In fact, he explains that Cardello Smith didn't even argue that point. So Combs argues that the injunction order is defective, that it violates his constitutional rights of due process, again, since he claims he wasn't made aware of any of this, that the court lacks jurisdiction over him because he wasn't properly served. Also, Combs says that Cardello Smith has no legal or equitable interest in his real property, in his homes. Cardello Smith just didn't want the property sold in case he wins a money judgment against Combs. Combs says the law is very clear on this, that equity alone doesn't allow for a pre-judgment injunctive relief to prevent a defendant from selling or transferring assets in which the plaintiff doesn't hold a lien or equitable interest. And Combs cites a Supreme Court case in support of that. So Combs is asking for the court to dissolve the injunction. Now,
that's right.
In totality, what do we make of this?
I'm kind of thinking that, Jody, because he had time, you know, and this was the little, let me see. I don't think this is a video, but this is about the Cuba Gooding Jr. I don't know if I think it was SG, and I don't think she's in here, or somebody else maybe asked about this. I don't know if it's a video or just, let me see. It says Rodney Little Rod Jones struggled to serve Cuba Gooding Jr. with legal papers after naming the actor as a defendant in a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy. According to the court documents obtained by All Hip Hop, Jones asked for a 60-day extension to serve Gooding after several failed attempts. Tyrone Blackburn, the attorney representing Jones, claimed Gooding dodged service of process in multiple cases. Jones tried to serve Gooding at properties in California and New York to no avail. Jones never attempted to serve in Gooding in Florida because the actor allegedly lived out of hotels there. That sounds sketchy. What was he trying to avoid it? Blackburn believed Gooding still resides in New York City. The lawyer also discovered tax liens on a Los Angeles property owned by Gooding. Blackburn told the New York judge he would attempt to serve Gooding at both locations again. The plaintiff has attempted to serve Mr. Gooding Jr. at the New York City location several times, and he has refused to answer the door, the attorney wrote. The plaintiff discovered this is Mr. Gooding Jr.'s address from conducting a skip trace search. I never seen that in an article, which was also confirmed through court filings. Additionally, this was his address of record for his recent criminal cases where he pleaded guilty for SA. I don't know if this has, let me see if this is the clip right here that I was looking for.
Did you ever do anything with Tupac or no? Did you ever?
No, I saw him right before he passed too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was you.
That's crazy. Never worked with him though.
I've seen pictures of him hugging the guy.
Gang-related, Poetic Justice. He did Juice, and he did a couple other. He did a basketball.
Did something with Jim Belushi.
It was alleged to happen on Diddy's yacht. Now I remember. Yeah, it says New Year's Eve. Cuba Gooding Jr. reacts to Diddy's SA trafficking lawsuit. So it was alleged Diddy passed off the guy to him, and I've seen pictures of him with his arm on the guy. And the guy alleged he reached over and like was feeling him up and rubbing his thigh and stuff. It's weirdo stuff. You guys are weird.
Yeah,
Another
what did
link.
he
Let
do?
me check.
Above the Ram, Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson, which I thought it was great.
I think I only see one. Oh, there's another one.
Gang related album soundtrack was actually good. I don't know if you've listened to the gang related soundtrack. It was
Not
actually
in a minute. Not in a minute.
Yeah, it was a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Cuba, with all this stuff that's coming up with Diddy and you're on one end, 50 Cent is calling out Diddy and here's what he's doing and all this stuff, and they got the back and forth.
Yeah.
I got Sugar on here.
Look at this example. Look what happened.
Yeah. And I got Sugar on.
So is in my back chat, Pressure's Chaos, is that the one that shows the pictures of him on the yacht? Is that the one? Because I don't know if this is going to address what I'm looking for. Let me check that one that was in my back chat. Let me just check that. That might be the one. I hadn't planned on going this long. Okay. Yeah, I think he's hiding too, Bird. Yeah. Because as far as I know, this guy hasn't been, it sounds like he's dodging being served. Sounds like it. I know, right? I know that. I think he's in his 50s. Maybe I can find that part. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Usher. Oh, yeah, that's the guy. That's the dude right there. I'm not sure if I should skip ahead so you don't have to hear the. I don't want you to have to hear repeat stuff. That's his drug mule. Saying? Oh. Oh, I skipped the wrong one. My bad. I forgot to share the other screen. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's being filed.
I do that once in a while. I need y'all to tell me in chat, yell at me like that.
Behalf.
There
when I'm
really
scared.
wasn't, to compare him to R. Kelly, for instance.
I'm just
there
sitting
were
here.
rumors swirling.
I was just sitting here listening to it, trying to find the right spot, and I'm like, oh, my bad.
On R. Kelly from the beginning, and that started off with his marriage to a very underage Aaliyah, and that's when folks were like, okay, something doesn't seem right here. But like, kind of put it to the side, just kind of put a pin in it for a few decades until all the bombshell allegations and ended up being proved in a court of law came forth. I feel like with Diddy, we didn't hear that much. We knew that he partied hard. We knew that he was always going to high profile events and all of that. But I personally have never heard any rumors surrounding any wrongdoing or anything having to do with him. This is an artist who really came to prominence in the 90s. We remember all of the videos. He was very close with Biggie Smalls, who also tragically lost his life back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And so he was somebody who had this whole orbit around him, and so many different artists like Maze and all these different folks that sprung out from this record label and orbit that they were in. So he had a huge impact on what R&B and hip hop looked like in the 90s and the 2000s, and continued to be influential today in terms of other artists that have, gained prominence and gained fame, as well as him as a producer having this really huge presence in the industry. So absolutely, this is a bombshell, and this is something where the impact is going to be reverberating around the globe for a variety of reasons.
But during this era,
I might just skip to that part where I think it's going to be around there, just so there's not a lot of repeat, only because it's been on a while. And then when I'm done with this video, because we waited so long for the press conference, I'll just edit the title with the timestamp so people don't have to, if other people are going to come in here and watch it after, they're just going to be, sitting there waiting for the presser. So I'm going to edit the title to tell people where to jump ahead. So, because that could be kind of lame. So right now I'm just trying to find the spot. I'm kind of just
can get the closure that they need, and that he can be brought to justice for the crimes he's perpetrated on others.
Among those other lawsuits, another filed under the New York Survivors Act by Joy Dickerson Neal. Her allegations date back to 1991 when she was a student at Syracuse University. Joy says Diddy intentionally drugged her, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Joy also...
how many people has this guy freaking assaulted and done this to? This is insanity. This is just what he does on a daily. He thinks he can control anyone, huh? He's this is crazy.
Alleges she's a victim of revenge porn because Diddy allegedly recorded the rape and passed around that videotape. According to her suit, Joy demands a jury trial, as does Liza Gardner, who also says Diddy raped her in New York in the 90s. According to her civil suit, Liza and her friend met Diddy at a party and later went with him to an after party where she, quote, was offered more drinks and coerced into having sex with Combs. Liza says Diddy and another man raped her and her friend. Later on, she says Diddy choked her to the point that she lost consciousness.
What the fuck?
While Jane Doe doesn't list her name in the lawsuit, she does list multiple photos of herself and Diddy. Her allegations date back to 2003 when she was just 17 years old and in 11th grade. Her lawsuit states at this time, Diddy was twice her age and one of the most well-known and
11th grade. He's 34 years old when this allegedly happens. 11th grade of high school, you sicko, nasty fucker.
Influential music artists of all time. Jane Doe alleges Diddy flew her from Michigan to New York on a private plane and raped her in a recording studio. All this leads us back to Lil Rod's 74-page lawsuit that was filed back in February, detailing a laundry list of wild accusations. Melba says all this parallels a trajectory.
This is the guy right here. This is the guy that I believe Cuba, was a little freaky with, but it sounds like Diddy was grooming this guy and preparing him to pass off to Cuba. So it's like, how did Cuba know to get this unless he was involved in freak-off parties and saw what, Diddy was capable of, or word of mouth got out how he can get what he needed? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't just go around knowing that somebody has this to offer unless word gets out that Diddy has this, can get you anything you want. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like a drug deal almost, but it's for human. It's trafficking. It's weird.
We've seen before.
Oh, it absolutely is a fall from grace. I have no question in my mind that this is going to be the end of Diddy as we know him, right? And the next chapter is going to be him incarcerated, much like R. Kelly.
Yeah, like Maxwell.
Which is, of course, sad, tragic, and horrible, not only for him, but more importantly for the survivors who have gone through some horrific experiences.
We thought Epstein was bad.
But yeah, I think this is definitely going to be the end, because with all of the allegations that have come forward at this juncture, all the artists that have come forward alleging wrongdoing.
Yeah, Buttercup, isn't that also ironic with the same prosecution?
I can't see how he gets
Diddy done. He gone.
According to Lil Rod's lawsuit, he lived with Diddy for months at a time while working on Diddy's Love album. During this time, he says Diddy sexually assaulted him, forced him to have sex with prostitutes, and drugged him. On top of all this, Lil Rod says his allegations are corroborated with hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in some serious illegal activity, because Diddy apparently required Lil Rod to record him constantly.
Damn.
The lawsuit even lays out some pictures, like this one, showing Cuba Gooding Jr. with his arm around Lil Rod.
Look at that. He was grooming this guy and then passed him off. You don't just do this and go over to someone's house and say, "Hey, can you get me a guy?" Like it's like he ordered him like a friggin' pizza. You know what I'm saying? You have to know that people do this kind of stuff in the business and know what Diddy's about to know that you can go on a yacht and order a dude to do this to. So you know what I mean? Like, this shit's weird. These people
According
are
to
fucking
this
weird.
suit, Lil Rod alleges Diddy was, quote, grooming him to pass him off to his friends. This fear became reality when
Grooming him to pass off so people could come over and order a dude? Like, what the hell? Oh, we already kind of went over that, True Seeker. Now I'm just showing a couple clips before I end. But it's all in here.
Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. while they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. Court documents go on to state Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. But then there are other defendants listed, like corporations such as Universal Music Group and Motown Records, along with their higher-ups. To understand this, I spoke to entertainment attorney Mitra Ohurian. In addition to these...
So when Zap, I went live. I wouldn't have usually gone live. There was already another live going on. So I wanted to have, I know there was like a limited audience, but I wanted to be able to play the Diddy stuff when they came out of court and gave statements. I didn't want to miss that because I've had other appointments and stuff going on where I wasn't able to do some of that stuff. So I wanted to kind of put it together really quickly and just put the stuff out so people had a place to hang out and watch that, while it went on.
Record labels that are listed as defendants. They also list CEOs, a former CEO of Motown Records and then a current CEO of UMG. So I'm wondering why, in addition to these labels, are they listing the CEOs?
Yeah, they're trying to pierce the corporate veil. They're trying to say that, you as individuals also were aware.
Well, Holly, I've been lost in the art world, in art projects for the last couple of days. So I'm kind of like, I come back and see some of this stuff and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm kind of lost. So I was like, I'm just going to go over here and do this because I don't know what the fuck this is all about, kind of thing, I'm going to probably end it soon. But if you did just come in and you are planning to rewatch, when I first went live, just so you know, we waited for a while for the press, to have some sort of statement from the lawyer. So there was a lot of waiting. So once it's done, I'm going to go in and edit and put in the title what the timestamp is, so you don't have to sit and wait through it like we did. Basically we were sitting in the chat waiting for them to come out of the courthouse and make a statement. So I'm going to find the timestamp and put it in the title so people can jump right to that spot and don't have to wait like we did.
Aware of these things happening.
Someone we know for sure is speaking with investigators, though, is Cassie. Melva says she's not surprised.
Bird.
I expect that she would have.
God, Bird.
Because again, if she's telling the truth, then she's
shit.
going to give any evidence that she has. So in terms of if there's recordings she knows existed, right? I mean, she may not have possession of it, but she could be like, listen, in July of 2005, he forced me to do XYZ at,
His bond was denied. The lawyers tried to come up with a $50 million bond. That's what they proposed. However, he has a bond hearing tomorrow, or, because he appealed it, appeal hearing. I don't think he's going to get it. Just guessing.
This particular hotel, there may be surveillance footage to show me going in and out of the building. There may be this video that he took of the
I was talking
horrible
about that
events
too,
that may
Zeb.
have happened that day. So now at least law enforcement will know exactly
you're
where to
welcome.
look and start to narrow down different timelines, and then also speak to other witnesses or maybe other survivors that were present and victimized at another point in time, but they can help corroborate some of what she's saying. And that is going to help put together the case against Diddy, likely for human trafficking, for sex trafficking, narcotics charges, etc.
So what we believe is that the Cassie lawsuit kind of spurred this investigation. But is it possible that Lil Rod's bombshell lawsuit that came out in February is really what kicked it into high gear? Because there we learned about the many hours, he says hundreds of hours of recordings. And then as we know, federal investigators were at multiple of his homes. Could those two things be correlated?
Oh, they absolutely are. They absolutely are. I would think that the feds or law enforcement was investigating from when Cassie's lawsuit was filed, but now they have additional fuel for the fire. So now in reading Little Rod's lawsuit, now we're getting into drug use, we're getting into drug trafficking, we're getting into mules, we're getting into pink cocaine. Who knew? And so you're hearing and seeing all of these other allegations that now the feds can be like, okay, now I know I need to look for surveillance tapes. Now I need to look for this aspect. Now I need to speak to these folks because they were listed in Little Rod's lawsuit.
All of that leads us up to right now and the speculation of what's next for Diddy. As far as Diddy's name, who's all over multiple of these lawsuits, I mean, he's the main kingpin in all of this. He may be facing some reputational damage, but I'm wondering what's going on behind closed doors with him and his attorneys. What sort of game plan are they making?
Well, I'm going to say that is going to be a very active war room right now, because basically they're going to be scrambling to figure out how to avoid criminal liability. Who are the people that are likely to testify against him? Can they try and mitigate that in any way, which I don't think they can? And then also preparing for criminal charges being filed and starting to think through what a defense strategy could look like, making sure that you have bond money set up in case there's bond available for whatever offenses he's charged with. And then, making sure you have money set aside that wouldn't be, otherwise encumbered because, for whatever reason, right? I mean, there's a number of reasons why you may not be able to get cash out right away. Let's say if the cash is tied up in your house, you may not be able to get access to it right away. So you may want to have a separate pool just to be able to pay for that, right? So these are some of the logistics that his defense team might be looking at in preparation for the charges that will come, because there's no question in my mind charges will come.
This story is constantly evolving with new information coming out daily. For updates in Diddy's case, make sure to check back right here with Long Crime for the latest. Reporting for Long Crime, I'm Sierra Gillespie. Breaking news, Sean
I was just trying to grab the link to the PDF, which I messed up the first link. If you hear me now, I was that last link. Just let me know if that works. That's so you guys can click on it and read the PDF. I've already downloaded the PDF indictment and had a look at it, but you could just click on that if you want to review that. Other than that, if you came in late, it was just, they went over the court stuff and everything and some of his charges and everything. So you can, I'm gonna, when the video posts, I'm gonna go back and put the timestamp right under the title so you don't have to sit and wait for it all. But now I'm gonna go make some food and all that. So that's pretty much that. And it was all kind of thrown together because I wasn't really planned because I had other things going on. But yeah, so that's about it. And I got nothing else, and I don't really know what else is on, so I guess I'll see y'all somewhere, and that's about it. And I just wanna make sure that link works. Let me see if it works. Oh, that's you know what? Actually, you're probably right, Jody, because some of them like that other girl that alleged something was 17, and she was, an 11th grader in high school when he was 34, so who knows what else. It's probably under all kinda underage. Ugh, that sucks to think of, but who knows what's out there. But it was some really gross stuff today. It was pretty horrific. Well, thanks. I kinda just tried to wing it and grab some news for the people that wanted to hear the news. I know it wasn't a lot of people, but and there's other stuff going on, but I kinda am interested in this stuff, and you can really go down a rabbit hole, and it's just amazing. It blows my mind how sick and disturbed some people are, and this guy's a sicko. And I hope tomorrow when he has his, appeal hearing, I hope that gets denied too. You can take your 50 million and shove it up your ass because your money ain't always gonna save you. He's used to his money saving him. I bet it ain't gonna work tomorrow, but we'll keep a lookout for more news tomorrow. And if that's gonna be broadcasted or played anywhere, I'll look out and see if there's anything we can stream and watch. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out for something and see if we can get some more news on it, and I'll stream it if it's available or if there's anything to watch that goes along with this. Because I know there's a small group of us that like the crime shit and what's going on in the world, current events, you know? So, yeah, I guess, y'all have a good day. I'm sure I will see you somewhere. Oh, I am better. It's just my eyes are still healing. I tried vegetable glycerin on them earlier because when I get that allergic reaction, once my eyes start going back to their normal shape, I get like this dry. It's horrific. It does this dry, crusty thing on my eyelids, and it's just it's gross, man. But they're not as puffy as they were. It's just that for some reason when I heat up one of my art supplies that I'm getting more and more allergic to it. It's very odd. So it's like highly toxic to me now. I work with it outside as it is, and for some reason, even if my face is not right directly over the resin, whenever I heat it up to torch out the bubbles or anything, no matter what, once it gets in the air, it just like it does something crazy to my face. And sometimes I have to, well, I usually have to go get a shot and steroids, but this time I just tried to wing it with Benadryl and I tried Claritin. And what else did I use? Something else, but some eye drops. I tried everything. I have a mask. Sometimes I take it off when it fogs or I can't breathe, and it's hard to do that in the heat with the mask. I'm gonna get some. One of these days, I'm gonna just go for it and get this. It's a air. It's like a belt with air, and it has a filter, so it pumps air into the mask, so that I won't have any type of fog, or it won't matter if I'm in the heat. It blows air, but they're like the one that I'm looking at is like between $600 and $700, so it's kind of an investment. But I'm probably gonna have to do it because I'm getting highly sensitive, like ridiculous. It's ridiculous. My art is killing me. My art is painful, but I must do it because I like to make the things. But anyways, yeah, I'm better. I'm cool. Oh, really? That you think that'll help? I will try that. I might even have some of that line. I think I do have some of that tea. I never heard of that, and I'm willing to try anything because my eyes are nasty. Or at least I can see and everything, and they're not hurting, so that's good. So yeah, I always like to send people somewhere and say like this live's going on or that live, but I don't really know what's going on, so I haven't really looked. I've been a little behind. I've been the last couple days in a craft art rabbit hole and watching videos and stuff, and I'm kind of a little bit lost the current situations in our little sector over here. I'm kind of confused, but I gotta catch up, I guess. And yeah, I might try to figure out what the hell's going on, and don't really know what else to watch. So yeah, I'm sure I'll see you somewhere on these streets. I think people are probably still scared because people like that still have power behind bars. They have people that work for them. There's still money out there, and they're probably scared that one of his cronies will do something, and rightfully so. I'd be scared of them people. I mean, once he gets charged for that thing, though, maybe other people. I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. But I'm sure there's still people that are scared, and I'm not certain that it's all over. I feel like there will definitely be more stuff coming out. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll watch it. We'll see what's going on, and we'll check out that appeal tomorrow. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for that. And if anything else pops off, I'll keep an eye out for that. And it looks like. Is that my neighbor or company? Well, anyways, I guess that's it. I'll see you all around these streets. Thank you for hanging out.
There's a monster under my bed, and at my window there's a dragon. I accepted the challenge, it turned me into a savage. I broke a promise to myself again. I don't know why I am so vulnerable. They try to help, but I won't let them in. I guess rock bottom's where I'm comfortable. Both my feet planted when most people would have panicked. I embraced the storm. I found beauty in what was damaged. I'm not afraid of the boogeyman. Instead I look at him like he's a friend. There's not a monster out there in the world that's scarier than the one that's within. There's a creature in my closet. I can hear him rumbling around. The demon screaming in the distance creates such a humbling sound. The monster that's outside my window, he's like family to me now. The things that people are afraid of never let me down.
Not to say this no, but I'm hated so. My religious freaks say I'm the biggest beast and that I made it grow. When I spray this flow, I created mo. Creatures are like when I heat up the mic, I'm a breed of the night, but I'm tainted though. By the darkness I'm blinded, I sparked it and shined it. They find it cause mine is whoa. For that they label me a demon seed. Wanna disable, need to see them bleed. Hinder me fatally and see them grieve, no. You would not believe the creature inside me. If you deceive, Khalifa's are lively. We disagree when people defy me or try to take his. Whatever the fuckery toward them, you don't wanna wake this. You forsake his with a sacred, then it's over no matter what your faith is. I'm a creature.
There's a creature in my closet. I can hear him rumbling around. The demon screaming in the distance creates such a humbling sound. The monster that's outside my window, he's like family to me now. The things that people are afraid of never let me down.
Yeah, I managed to get myself in trouble, all of this pain. Yeah, I'm down in the dope, but dose of liquor's always to blame. If I could keep myself sober, I keep my hands to myself. I take a shot and it's over, that's how I end up in hell. I hope I don't pass it down to my offspring. They get everything from their daddy, feel like I'm addicted to all things. There's no reason to change, gone too far now. And I'm stuck in my ways, back at the bar now. They say I'm a flirt and they right, I ain't perfect, alright. So when I'm thirsty, I'm perking and purposely searching for something that's hurting me so. I just can't pack up and go, I just back out of it slow. That's how it go, I like to back out the hole. What next like I don't know. I think they be laughing at me, hands be grabbing at me. Feel like God let it happen to me, dabby blast with me. And these be a dabby dash with me. I think I better let it go. Either that or I gotta let it know. I can't do that.
There's a creature in my closet. I can hear him rumbling around. The demon screaming in the distance creates such a humbling sound. The monster